versus for supports already, Wolf?
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready to say it because he's been overshadowed by many, even Delight, but I think he's overperformed both this man here and Delight all year long. Keria, this year has had so many strong picks as Nico, incredible, but has taken a bit of a dip, I think, at the very end of the season here. The Bard predictability felt like, at first you're like, okay, this Bard is insane. His Bard is the best in the LCK, but now it just keeps getting banned, or it looks really predictable here. So I think we're going to have to see Keria show a little bit more depth. I think we're seeing a return to that in their last series against T+, but I want to see it go a little bit higher if T1's going to get the upset tonight.
Yep, and we'll see whether the draft is going to look a bit better as well. Things like picking that Xayah Renata bot lane face up into the Ziggs draft earlier on. That was a couple of series ago. They've been able to iron out some of these kinks in the draft, and I'm hoping that T1 will look like they are well prepared for this series. I think already making that, making a lot of changes and a lot of differences were seen in their previous series against DK, which did turn out to be a lot easier. Draft decisions there were more glued on the other side of the rift, one could say, but I'm gonna just try my best not to think about Rammus support today.
No.
Unless Keria picks it and shows us all what it's capable of, that would blow my mind. But also, I just hope that it doesn't happen. I just don't think it's happening. Real. I don't think that's real.
So we have two teams coming into this best of 5 on opposite spectrums of momentum. T1 getting the win over D+, and with the performance from Ona that was phenomenal. On the other side, a loss for GenG to KT. Taking another zoom in here on the bottom lane very briefly. Notice the lane stats here for Ruler in terms of CS. He ends up getting massive leads, but his gold difference is not as high. That's because T1 often utilize lane swaps incredibly well to get Guma massive amounts of gold early on, even if they aren't getting the duo 2v2 kills as often. See the KDAs here, pretty different. Guma playing a lot more back at safe. Ruler kind of getting up into the thick of things. And of course, GenG coming off that loss against KT isn't going to do wonders for Ruler's stats, but I want to go back to the momentum thing because we haven't seen GenG since that KT series. Our expectations is that Canyon and Chovy will be back in form, but I think game 1 is going to tell us a lot. That's where we're going to really be able to reframe and reshape expectations because it has been a while since we've seen GenG. The series against D+ wasn't dominant per se, but it was from Owner, right? And when that's one weak point for GenG that we saw most recently versus an insanely strong point, it gives you hope as a T1 fan that maybe that upset could happen tonight. You're hoping they don't show up in this best of 5.
Exactly right. I'm a little bit distracted, Wolf. I'm not going to lie to you. The Artie that was barbecuing the GenG Tiger was just really unsettling. And we've seen a lot of these fan signs. I should be getting used to it, but that was real.
Imagine
scary.
what Artie did to Bunky then to get rid of him.
Oh, by the way, another fan sign that we have translated for us here is it's Inspire Arena. So GenG boys, it's time to show off your arena skills, and we know
Rito Games.
Way too much arena. It makes it very difficult to look at solo queue stats because every stat is arena.
When you see those stats at the bottom of the screen, Legend first, Legend third, the fact that we're in playoffs lower round 3.
It's insane,
and
isn't it?
T1 was considered vastly superior to Hanwha before playoffs began, despite being
Still wonder.
below them, just a few games.
Bard sama Nico ban. It's kinda nice.
As the Bard and the Nico will be respected immediately here for GenG, taking those away from Keria. Have questions about where Jarvan will land. I think Jarvan could start to replace Pantheon in some of these early bans.
Yeah, I actually think that
Azir ban.
it feels like Jarvan really does sort of meld a series around you, right? Like we've seen, and it's going to be banned here by GenG, really targeting, right? Like these are the 2 picks that Keria has the most impact on, and the Jarvan was the way that Ona started that snowball rolling in their series against DK. I think that the Demacian Prince is going to be someone that will be looking out for throughout this series.
GenG pengen
manages to pick that one up, and I think that it will be first pick priority. Let's see what this last ban is going to be though, because Yunara is up, guys.
Yunara is available. Pantheon is banned instead here with no Wukong. Feels like a pretty strong Yunara angle here for Ruler. We've seen teams have answers to this in the 2v2, or at least attempted answers, like the press the attack smolder we saw from Ruler himself.
Yep.
And so I think T1 very willing to give this up. This is not a, I guess we accidentally gave Yunara. I think they have a plan here. We don't know what that plan is just yet, but they will also have jungle priority pick here as well, since GenG did take that away. They have red side, so it's a great way to try to utilize red side as well as remove Yunara from play for the rest of the series.
Yeah, the thing that I'm a little bit worried about is, will Gumayushi go towards the Smolder pick, right? That we've seen be the handshake option into the Yunara. It doesn't really feel like a Guma champion to me. And otherwise, we've seen a lot of other picks not really work. Like, is it just a Felios? Is that what he's going to be playing into it as sort of his hyper carry of choice in the matchup? As the Orianna, massively high priority and does go over to Faker, that is a big deal because he's been so good on this champion. And this new Bruiser Orianna that we've been seeing has been... yeah, looking pretty broken, and that is going to be Zinzao for Ona. Needs no introduction there, I don't think.
I mean, I think he was considering the Nocturne potentially to lock down the Yunara in the back line. Great ball carrier, but don't know what the rest of this draft is going to look like just yet. Another option we haven't talked about in the bottom lane, but is now very difficult to lock in, is the Lucian pick, which we have seen attempted to take out the Yunara in the bottom 2v2, but now red side can only get one part of that, and the other parts will be taken away. And see the Vi Galio to come through here for GenG now. So a lot of frontline and engage to set up this Yunara to clean up team fights.
Yeah, and I actually kind of like the idea of playing around Ruler here in game number 1, because I think Ruler and Keen were the two that were, I think Duro as well. It was mainly Canyon and Chovy that was struggling.
Ooh,
so put them on utility and then allow Ruler to carry and get that momentum rolling, maybe get some mojo back into the jungle and mid lane. But there is that Corki like you were talking about.
To me, Corki has been Ruler's best champion this year, and you take it away for the series now. So now you don't have to worry about Ruler's Corki. For the rest of the series, you won't have to worry about his Yunara. You will have to worry about it here in game 1, but feels kind of similar veins to what Chronicle was talking about with that Ziggs pick that they showed us earlier on in playoffs, where they just take it away. Rakan going to be removed here now for that lane sustain, and also the amazing follow-up he has with the Vi and the Galio. The Alistair, one of the stronger pairings for the Corki in this lane, 2v2.
Alistair,
see what ends up coming through here finally for Keria, because I feel like could work in this draft here for T1.
Yeah, there are so many support bans so far. Like, we already have 4 taken away. So that pool is getting a little bit thinned. There is still things like Liliona, the Nautilus, stuff like this that they can look towards, but maybe one more ban is going to come through.
Buset, itu mic deket banget ke mulut.
But instead it's going to be the Renekton taken away from Doran.
Right,
I think Keen wants to play Ambessa.
Do you want to save counterpick for Doran or for Keria?
Biar suara gak banyak yang bocor sih. Jadi input mic-nya aku turunin.
If you could just lock in Nautilus or Leona, you're fairly safe here. It's tough to dive because of the stuns and the roots that those champions can pick up to defend said dives. He's just gonna take the
Oh, Ambessa top.
Okay.
Berarti Faker kemungkinan
really important because if Duro just locks in a melee engage support, you can lux it. You can throw a Karma in that lane. You can really punish the lane, the 2v2, in a way that can help put that Yunara behind, which is looking like the sole carry at this point in time in GenG's comp.
2 ways to play this as GenG. One, you just slam a tank down, you front to back with your already insane front line, or you go for like Aatrox, Camille.
Man.
You go for the aggressive pick, you go for the lockdown backline access, and when you have Galio already with Vi, it just becomes so simple. And even if you don't kill the Corki, it doesn't matter. You just kill anyone. And then you have such a front line that the rest of T1 won't be able to compete. And with Orianna in particular, she's more burst over
Camille top,
ultimate is really the main
itu mid. Oke, Galio mid.
Galio mid. Camille
Top lah.
And GenG are basically setting this up to be hyper carry rule.
Masih inget kalau Bang Gorski masih di sini anjing.
You'll never be able to touch that Yunara.
Galio nggak mungkin lawan si Ambessa.
Iya.
Okay,
Brauw.
The full engage route, you know, engage Braum is something we've laughed about a fair bit, but the Poppy left up and available is something that's been banned quite a bit during these playoffs.
Oh, cari ke ADC.
Will be the final lock-in for Keria. Not exactly the most lane power that you can get, but still going to be very, very powerful in breaking up these team fights and denying.
Itu pro player bukan.
Iya, bukan.
Masa ya Orianna mau jadi support?
Orianna support iya ini.
T1 kind of misread what GenG were looking for here. They banned the Aurora. Don't want to lose the top lane. Don't want to take away Doran's ability to get prio there. But instead, GenG are like, we're playing for composition here. We're going to get this Camille. We have Camille, Galio, Vi, and Yunara. Team fights are so free for us. And now T1 end up with a Poppy, which feels almost like desperation as a get-out-of-jail-free card for setting up on objectives. For example, if you can knock some of those champions away, you might be able to get that fair fight. 4 team fights when we get to 3rd Drake, 4th Drake, when we get to Baron.
Oh, coachnya tuh di ruangan berbeda ya kalau LOL tuh. Enggak di belakang gitu.
Iyalah.
Kalau Dota kan di belakang kan, Bang. Baru nyadar kalau coach selalu di ini, di backstage.
Happy to get knocked away, he can just fly back in almost immediately. Vi presses ult, you can't move her around anymore.
Terus diikutin sama
And
MM.
Camille has the ability to be
Haha,
targetable as well if you can time it correctly. So going to be a tough game to really get the most keeper's verdict value. Let's get onto the rift here for game number 1 of this do or die best of 5.
T1
Right, here we are, ladies
fighting.
and gentlemen, onto the rift for game number 1. GenG versus T1, the El Clasico here for our final day in LoL Park. And it's kind of insane that one of these teams does get to go to the Inspire Arena later on next week. And another team is just going to be going home, and not only that, but also has to face off against the 4th seed of the LPL in the first best of 5 of Worlds. They could have, like, there could be 3 games and then you're just home again.
Yeah.
For T1 or GenG, what?
It's crazy how we went from, it's always either T1 or GenG lifts the LCK trophy, and there's different times in different eras where we're like, oh, it's definitely either GenG or T1, like one is so favored, to Hanwha Life lifting the trophy last season in summer, to now one of these teams gets the chance to play the lower bracket finals, and we still might not have either of them, actually. Yep. It could still be Hanwha Life versus KT in the grand finals. So just crazy to see a big shift here in the LCK right now, as this bottom 2v2 is going to be quite volatile here. Duro going to be playing this Braum into the Poppy. It also kind of hurts Lucian picks, by the way, for the future of this series.
Oh, that's actually a really good point. Kind of does make that a little bit more difficult. We have seen some experimentation, like the Janna Lucian that we saw the other day. Wasn't exactly our favorite.
Oh, stacknya disimpan.
But
he did some cool stuff.
He did some cool stuff, even if it didn't necessarily work out.
Kapan?
I think you're right. I think the,
Stacknya Yunar, jadi diaktifasinya kalau udah dekat sama champion lawan gitu. Kalau gue begitu stacknya full langsung gue aktifin tuh Q-nya buat clearing wave.
Gantung kalau update mana itu jungle-nya. Kocak kan overpush malah ke colam jungle.
Kanya is 8-1 on this Vi, but more impressively, I think, is Chovy's 12-0 Galio.
Yeah, that is a scoreline that he has right there. Not too bad at all. Things looking pretty good over here on T1 side as well, outside of the pretty surprising lower win rate here for Gumyushi's Corki. Hasn't necessarily found as much success.
Now notice the junglers are both path different directions. This top lane is very gankable for Canyon to come up here and look for absorbing that pressure that Doran is looking to put on here. You mentioned the release state difference. It's just a really hard matchup for Camille early because Doran has those shields, has all those dashes, so could just outmaneuver him essentially in the lane. But this is a gankable lane where the Vi has power. Bottom side, for a little bit of a trade here. Not as gankable for the Xinjiao, I would say, though.
Yeah, not so much. Bit of Slurkle value there on Decaria, but not too much more. Do want to say thank you to Valdez yesterday for really vindicating the Slurkle, and I appreciated it so much. Just needed him to know that.
Look at this, by the way. Like, we mentioned it briefly. Like, this is across, now 15 across international events as well. 2 times at EWC, that win at MSI as well. This is for all time.
He's pretty good at Galio.
He does have the most famous Galio play of all time as well before it was changed.
He does.
Because of him.
The good old Flash Taunt.
Yeah.
That was DRX against GenG.
Yeah.
So that was BDD. I think BDD was playing Zoe in that series. Kind of crazy stuff. I think I went back and watched that play like a few months ago, just because I was like, there's so many phenomenal Galio games for Chovy. I remember the 4-man taunt, but I couldn't remember the context all that well.
Remember it very well because it was on my caster audition for the LCK.
Hey, I was there for that too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my memory of that isn't quite as good. I have to admit, I did a few of those auditions. As Chovy and Faker still just leaning it out here, both of them having teleported back in. And CS numbers looking fine as Chovy is going to be able to justicely punch his
Faker
way
has
through the wave.
Constantly applied pressure in this lane, and yet still Chovy is only a minuscule number of CS
good
down.
at red dots.
He really is. So we do see the lane swaps coming in here at the same time. Top laners teleporting down to the bottom lane, so it's really just a zero-sum lane swap. End up being the same matchups both sides, which means that this dragon, since there is no big lead in this bottom lane, may go unattended for a little while here in this game.
And there is still the chance of a Cloud Soul, which is absolutely fantastic. I just really think that the Earth, Wind, and Fire vibes, it's the chasing the clouds away part of it that I think is the most important. And so a Cloud Soul in game 1.
It's the 21st night of September, right?
Yes.
Well, still a little bit early for that, so, you know, it's...
I'm sure it's the night somewhere.
Yeah.
You know? I don't quite know where.
Like, maybe if it goes 5, you know, we get that Cloud Soul in game 5?
Yeah.
As yet, Yunara does
Ow,
lanes.
okay. Gumiushi taking a lot of damage. Has to barrier here underneath the turret, but has already taken a lot. Is now Carrier in a bit of trouble. Vault Breaker comes in from Canyon, who's been pretty active, or at least has found a bit of an angle to be useful here towards this top side of the map.
So it's Dragon here for a barrier of Guma and some potential plate gold here. He's going to lose some farm as well. He's already a little bit behind in that regard. So this is a pretty big win here for GenG, but at least T1 is able to stack that first Dragon on the other side of the map. Grubs are not spawning for 2 minutes here, so they'll have time to reset and look for that as well. As Doran is continuing to put pressure on in this lane, but won't really find himself with a CS advantage. And the Camille, like I said before, is really just about team fights later on. It's the setup with the Galio they drafted it for, not because they think it's going to smash Ambessa in this early game or gain Prio.
Yeah, I do still think that Keen will have a great time in side lanes as well later on in the game. It's one of the reasons why Camille has been so good is that she does team fight really well, gets that backline access, but also just kind of nukes turrets.
Canyon's going to have level 6 here. There is a control ward on that Tri-Brush, but this is a nice setup for GenG.
Yeah, there's the hook shot to come in. Hextech ultimatum comes down there as well as the public execution tries to come out here as Doran has to flash, but the flash forward from Keen.
First kill for GenG.
Doesn't have a lot of mana, but the Winter's Bite is going to land. Doran in a lot of trouble, but still dashing away. Oh my goodness, just the Ambessa things, and Doran is actually gonna be okay.
The craziest part of all this to me is you lose so much because Ruler's in trouble now here on the top side. It's going to force a TP here from Duro. He will get back just in time, but also the fact that Canyon was just chilling the whole time. Like, he was down there, and I guess he just assumed they had enough to kill Doran. So he's like, I'm not going to waste my time coming over there to secure the kill. But because he doesn't show up, Doran does get away. Is down his flash now and is going to lose a plate here. But it was a dangerous moment there for Ruler topside. Hits level 6.
Yeah, that is going to be the stun onto Carrier. Ruler's still there, though, and does have a lot of damage. As the flash forward, and Ruler will find it, dashes after the Corki, and there is first blood, but it's for the Yunara.
Now the Yunara ends up getting the huge value out of the level 6 spike. You're not going to have that as the Corki hits the slow there onto Guma. Guma down barrier from the previous exchange, has to flash, but Ruler has the follow flash and takes him out. Canyon going to take this Prio opportunity to start up Grubs, grabs the first one. Any grub you can get for this Camille side lane is going to feel fantastic, and it looks like they might just get all 3.
Yep, Canyon will be able to at least grab 2 of them with the help of Ruler, who does pick up a bit of extra money for that one. So far here for GenG, things going exactly the way that they want them to. Money is where it's supposed to be. Chovy's health bar, not looking fantastic here, but he is just going to Justice Punch his way through the minions, get himself back to base. And being a wave behind is absolutely fine here for the Galio. Still hoping that he finds some more impact later into the game.
Look at this calculation here from Ruler, knowing he's going to hit 6 off this minion. Goes to the dash forward first. That cooldown is bleeding, right? And he goes for this arc here, grabs the slow, forces the flash, gets his dash back at the last possible second. Dashed first, he gets it right at the end, and that's what is able to close the gap there on that Corki to secure the kill.
I do love as well that as the Keeper's Verdict comes out and Ruler is just knocked away, Yeah, Braum is just, okay, we've got a little bit more of an engage here towards the bottom side. As now Ruler may immediately get punished, does have the barrier, some side steps come through, public execution, and he puts Ruler down.
Doran.
Able to find the winters bite this time. The immediate answer comes on through, and this time around, Ruler not quite as okay as he was indicating in that replay.
That's going to be a big swing of gold back here to T1, putting them in the lead here as Doran picks up his first kill of the game. Now, he does have teleport as well, and will be able to come answer this top wave. If he didn't, this would have been a costly endeavor. It's still going to be Keen getting a little bit of damage done to this turret because he has 3 grubs. Not enough to actually grab the plate on this wave. But that was a great moment there, very calculated by Doran. Knows he can TP to patch that whole top side as Guma is heading back down to the bottom lane. They take the Yunara out. You can see on the mini-map here as well, they're already prepping that swap back. So Doran wants to find an all-in here with Keria before he goes to the top lane with his teleport. And Ruler plays this well, actually, with his ultimate, but Doran is just so quick to snap him up with his R button right as he dashes away.
Yeah, just waiting for the dash, knew exactly what was going to happen, and of course, as soon as that one's down, public execution is too easy.
Now, Ruler flashless, of course, after the previous exchange topside. He knows there's no way to dodge it.
Very nicely done. Bit of a Venn diagram here displayed between Keria and Chovy, but not too much more than that. As Gumiushi doesn't quite find that rocket. Slurkle connects, though, here from Ruler, who is still frightening, although he did just miss a cannon. That doesn't feel great. Ona making his way in, though. There comes the flash out of the shockwave. Very nicely done there from Chovy, but still a big cooldown invested. T1 successful gank in the mid lane.
That was very impressively played by Chovy. Still has to flash, but does not lose his life. And down here on the bottom side, we continue to zoom in on it because there's always, with Yunara, there's always an all-in angle.
Yep.
And our observers are very aware of it. Also, Vi on the bottom side, Canyon surfing around here as they clear this vision away. He is still unseen. Doesn't like they're going to be able to punish this flashless Corki. Instead, we'll turn their eyes towards the dragon first.
Yeah, looking like second dragon gonna get picked up here by GenG, unless there's something that T1 can do about it. Chovy looking a little worse for wear, which might make this a little bit more dangerous, but with Ona not in the area, just finishes the Sundered Sky, but Canyon already had that one in his back pocket, so feeling pretty good, and utilizing that Sundered Sky window to grab the Drake. So that is going to be 2 objectives taken here by GenG, just one more to lock down that portion of the feats of strength, and there it is, guys. It's
wow.
It's Earth, Wind, and Fire value here. We're chasing the clouds away. It's a Cloud Salt here in game number 1. Sometimes, you know, your faith does get rewarded, and it just feels fantastic.
Atlas is from the future. Or he just wills Cloud Souls, or both. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just a fan. Anyway, Keen and Doran doing battle here towards his top side. Duro picks his moment to come in, but it looks like Doran will be absolutely fine, and will just be able to shove this wave in as much as he would like. The fact that he did get that extra kill, though, a big deal, because it's going to take a long time for Keen to get to that point where he can.
Rasanya enak buat tidur sih memang. Panasnya nanggung. Kalau di Jogja.
Kerip.
It feels like the jungler of GenG
Bang, duluan dah, Bang, ya.
Ya, hati-hati Bang Gorski.
Constantly going around the map as support roaming and trying to find value for Ruler.
Anjing ada. Kan serius amat makanya komentarnya dong mas. Nuknya serius banget deh. Gak bisa, gue gak bisa nge-casting ternyata.
Ya lu ngapain casting?
Gue gak nge-casting dari tadi. Gue cosplay nonton jadi Ade. Mukanya serius.
And we reset back to a quieter game state here once again, as now do see the 80 carries start to head towards this mid lane.
Yeah.
And the side lanes begin a very, very close start to this series. We've had a lot of blowout games this playoffs, but this looks like it's not going to be one of them.
Yeah, not a lot of funny business happening in this one, as Chovy does avoid the dissonance quite nicely there. Now phase rushing after Faker finds the colossal smash and looking pretty good.
I need a limit testing.
Thus far. Still has a fair bit of health bar to get through, but does have
Chovy.
first item completion, a whole bunch of extra
Tapi
tankiness.
GenG punya dua pemain ini sih, Chovy, Ruler. I think both of it is quite a good mid and not quite a good, a great ADC player, and Chovy is I think the future of the face for League of Legends mid position. Oke, apakah akan terjadi team fight?
super runny fast patch. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, something like that.
It's not a circle. It's a fast call. A very big circle.
It's a ground cloud.
Yeah, there it is. But it's also a speed up.
Yeah, I don't know how to like,
because like you've been up a mountain, right? And
yeah.
you're in the clouds. I don't go faster. I just feel a bit wet.
Yeah.
You know, that's sort of what happens. So I'm a bit confused as to why it happens the way that it happens, but I prefer not to question it.
The champions just turn into like their planes zooming.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like, even if that's not true, that's the way I'm going to think about it from now on. Is Doran finding a little bit of harass here against Keen, but it looks like things are going to go okay now that that Trinity Force has been put together.
Get ya!
He's feeling a bit strong, I could imagine.
Every time he presses Q, you need to get away from him.
Yes.
And you can see he has a somewhat hefty gold lead over his opposition here, but it's the top lane where T1 shore up that advantage. They have a technical gold lead themselves, like overall here with the lead that Faker has over Chovy. But I think all these things don't really matter that much. We're sitting at a 1-to-1 Drake game here, no double dragon, very, very even stakes. It's going to be that first team fight, that first skirmish that we're going to see around this Herald right now that is going to blow this game wide open.
Yeah, I think this moment is going to be incredibly pivotal, or a team just handshakes,
going to
and
fight
then we just don't know yet. But I think the first team fight, whenever it happens, is going to really tell us a lot here as Canyon looking to clear out some vision.
Guma wanted to back, I think, but there's just no time. He's down items here on components here to Ruler. And remember, for T1, you want to win the fight instantly here. Blow up a single member, then you can clean up. But if Ruler's the last man standing, you've completely lost it.
Ooh, bit of circle value here as Keen finding a good trade against Doran. The health bars of these top laners actually does play a factor as they both have teleport.
Bisa jadi timing buat team fight.
And Chovy and Faker will be still ping-ponging some waves here. The Rift Herald now down to about 4,000 as Gumayushi Carrier in the area. A bit of a rotation down. The Keeper's Verdict comes through, but it's immediately buffered by the ulti from Canyon. And the heroic entrance comes
Anjing!
down. Justice Punch, fantastic.
Bangsat rapi sekali.
They've taken down the Poppy, but that is not enough value. And Keen will be wiped out as well.
Anjing!
This guy is absolutely absurd. Triple. Can it be the Quadra? He's tanking up the turret, and he will allow owner.
Dapat. Enggak dapat. Iya dapat.
So he's just gonna get himself out of there, but
It's a nice cleanup.
He's the only one alive.
It's always amazed me on how
T1 with flying colors
team fight.
take the fight here. As GenG are set up to secure Herald, T1 are set up to fight. And look at the buffer there, it's fantastic. The ultimate does come out here, but when you look at what happens next, the Yunara is actually caught. Doran gets into the backline, and the shockwave is massive. And once that the Yunara is down, you just don't have damage. Whereas T1 have a Corki, and the real damage dealer of this skirmish is the
ketika Yunara down,
just
GenG nggak punya
with an impressive escape here,
enough damage.
does have phase rush and will get the hell out of there, but he is the only one surviving that fight. T1, massive win.
Yeah, Doran is now a huge problem for GenG. 4-0-1, 1.7k gold lead just for himself. And the first Cloud Drake will go over to T1 here. That'll be their prize.
Cloud Drake, arguably, I mean, if there's an investment in this game, I'd argue the Cloud Drake is higher value for GenG even individually because of the melees they have and how reliant they are on them, and the movement speed will be so beneficial. So even each individual Drake GenG doesn't pick up really hurts how this composition could have otherwise functioned here. T1 with one more big win on top of the skirmish on the top side.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive as Faker will pick up this wave. The Chovy shoved towards this top lane. Brunan's picked up here for Ruler, but does really want 3 items before he's very strong. Gumayushi still looking for item number 2, but it's 2 items that you feel great on when it comes to the Corki. So they will be feeling better and better as the next, I reckon, 10 minutes, 7 minutes perhaps goes on. And that will allow T1 to really sink their teeth into this advantage that they've picked up. It is, as you look at the top of your screen, 1.6k. It's not end of the world type gold lead, but we said that the way this first team fight is going to look is really going to set the tone for how the rest of this game is going to be. And T1 looked pretty good.
As T1, you could play through shutting down this Camille side lane win con because yes, she has grubs, but your Ambessa is just so much more powerful and is going to be hitting big spikes early in this game. with the gold that Doran just picked up. They're going to actually look to gank Doran himself.
Yeah, looking for a bit of an angle here. Hextech ultimatum comes down. Public execution comes
Oh,
in.
nice.
Area is going to evict the Camille. And now it's only Canyon and Duro that are down here underneath this turret. And Doran once again is going to survive.
Doesn't even have to flash in the exchange. Keria getting huge value out of the keeper's verdict there to save the play. Now Owner's here and Duro's left alone.
Yep, he's going to put down the door. Tries to flash his way out, but there's a teleport coming in. Ulti from Duro coming on through here, and I think they know that this Braum is dead. Keen still going to go in, but Faker's teleport. Now Keen is in so much trouble.
Rapi sekali.
Protects with a Slurkle. And that is going to be it. Oh, never mind the edge of the shockwave, and it's a double kill.
One and
Faker on this
fucking
Orion.
only
Saves the
Faker.
ultimate for so long, knows he doesn't need it for the initial kill, and then finally is able to lock down Keen on the edge with the shockwave, takes him out there, and T1 now poised to take this mid-turret, are running away with game one of the series.
Yeah, you've got Chovy now rotating down, but that will be feats of strength. Oh, never mind. GenG did lock down feats of strength by taking the top outer turret while we were speaking. But still, being able to break open the mid lane, a huge deal. Chovy now lying in wait in this brush. And we'll see whether he can at least stop the back here, and he does. Canyon moves over, though, as Owner is in perhaps a bit of trouble, but he does want to brawl. As we can see, Ruler's still doing a fair bit. But the problem is I feel like T1 showed it in that team fight. They can just say that Rule is dead and he will die.
Yeah, 100%. And this, like, Doran's ability to absorb pressure has been iconic for him as a player across his career. You know, on all three teams he's recently been a part of, right? And you consider he draws them all in, then they stick around way too long here. Owner shows up, and then you have this teleport from Faker with this really deep ward that's in the brush. Doesn't shockwave here, even though there's a possibility he could have catch Keen. He's like, nah, not gonna go for that one. Waits till the possibility of the flash of the shockwave is gone. Gets the flash here. Keen has no recourse, no way out. Catches him on the end, picks up the double.
Yeah, and right on the very edge of that that shockwave range as well. Absolutely fantastically done there by the GOAT. And that's going to move them to about a
Almost
2.5k gold advantage
1,000
here at
gold
21 and a half minutes into the game. T1 really getting this snowball rolling down the hill in the first game. And we do need to say, like, GenG, they had side selection moving into this first game. They chose blue side. T1 winning on red here in game one would be a huge deal, especially when the Yunara is invested, when Chovy's Galio, his undefeated Galio, is invested. There is a lot of those fearless bucks that they've used in this first game.
Now, in defense of the game state for GenG, they still have this Yunara that's heading towards 3 items. They still have incredible setup for it. Even though this Camille is now practically made of paper, she will still have the ability to ult with Galio when Chovy goes in on top of Gumayusi. And if Ruler is able to have, with all this front line, that may even just be taken out by a shockwave relatively quickly, if he's able to get into a game state where he can front to back with 3 items, this gold lead 2.4k here for T1 is not enough to say this game is finished, but if they can control the map with the tempo they have right now, continue to stack these dragons, and GenG never gets that fair fight, T1 are feeling great about their position, and I think they should.
Yep, Ravenous Hydra is now done here for Keen, but I don't think it's going to be enough to deter Doran in a side lane for now. As you can see, he already had his 2 items completed. Some cheeky cloth armors there as well. And Cloud Drake, this would be sole point for T1 if they're able to lock this one down. It's being started already. Full information over to GenG, but what can they do about it is going to be the question.
They just have to give it up. They have that control vision in the pit, and they're just very aware that this is not going to be a possibility for them, and they're just going to instead try to look for a collapse on the Doran, but look at how much defensive vision he has here. He's just going to completely let this wave push in. He's going to back away, and it will be just a scuttle crab in exchange here for GenG. Give it to Ruler. He picks up 100 gold off of that, and starting Otacon is a risky endeavor, but they're going to try it. They're going to try to pull T1 in. They are going to get Faker's teleport for this.
Yeah, that's what they're looking for here, I guess, is the teleport is going to come on through.
Yes,
He finds the hook shot angle.
menarik.
There's a Hextech ultimatum. He delivers the gargoyle.
A flang!
Taken down immediately. Now Kerry is going to turn up as Owner with that Crescent Guard is looking for Keen and will be able to find him. It's a 1-for-1 80 carry for top lane, but T1 still looking for more in the 4v4. Carrier dives forward, but Duro's able to get himself out of there with all of his summoner spells. And I don't know whether this works for GenG, because they gave up a Drake and then went 1-1 in a fight.
Yeah, they went 1-1 in the fight. Duro loses his flash on the exchange there, as Doran is able to force it with an ult there. But at the end of the day, the start was great. Like, this
Serius banget kayak
concept
nonton
of pulling
bokep.
Faker's TP
I'm in
and
awe,
collapsing
Bang.
on
I'm
the
in
Guma
awe.
is exactly how this
Gak bisa
composition
ternyata.
can work, because the Orianna
Nonton
isn't that
kompi yang
strong
lebih
alone.
bacot.
But the teleport angle from Faker is actually so threatening. It's hard for GenG to then force a chase. Chovy looks for the taunt, doesn't find it here. Keen is taken out in the outset, and then Duro here forced to flash. So at the end of the day, good start on the play there, but the teleport angle from Faker, I think, really threw GenG off, and they just had to retreat. Now T1 in Otacon control.
Yeah, Canyon is just on the Krugs, and Keen's in the bottom lane. So this Otacon is it just belongs to T1, and GenG are not going to contest. So dropping the ball a little bit when it comes to being able to hold on to these objectives.
Gila ini mah just another Sunday for T1 game ini ya.
GenG just bleeding all over the place. Haven't been able to
Gak
find
tahu
a team
game
fight that works
selanjutnya.
for them. I felt like their coordination a bit off in that last fight as well. Noticed the second time around that Canyon threw his ult onto a corpse. Because of course Gumayushi was very dead prior to that one working, so he was sort of on his way in there, and then it sort of fizzled out. So he didn't have the access to that for the next target in the fight.
T1, I believe, had like 3 or 4 petals before that Otacon. They're at 14 to the okay, it's 4. I got the confirmation.
Thanks, G-Son.
GenG's 12 here, so it's not like the most high value of all time Otacon takes here for T1, but it's just one more thing in their list of objectives they have. The grubs that Keen picked up have been very irrelevant in this game thus far. See, he got a little bit of side lane pressure here, but isn't able to touch the turret. Still a playable game here for GenG. The gold lead hasn't really changed, but the map control is still 100% T1's.
Yep.
This could be an angle.
Possibility, as Ruler is still very, very strong. Going for Lord Dom's third here,
Okay,
because feeling a bit of a pinch, especially with the fact that there are some armor items being built up here by Doran. A little bit, a smattering, but it's just sort of base armor that is going to make that item feel pretty valuable.
Yeah, cut through that Zhonya's value there.
Yeah, there you go. That's armor. That counts.
Does count. I think that for GenG, your best bet is to all in on this next fight. And hopefully, if you're a GenG fan, you're hoping that Ruler gets that LDR before this dragon does spawn. It's going to be pretty close, whether he picks it up or not. He is backing right now. We'll see if he does end up securing that. Because this is the fight you can turn the game around on. You do have flashes back up on everybody but Duro. You have Canyon, Chovy, Keen to lock down Guma before the fight starts. If you can set up vision, even dropping a wave to set that vision up feels fantastic. More
Nice.
picked up here for Ruler on that third item actually
Wait,
instead of the LDR,
didn't know
which makes
that.
sense in this draft.
Chovy.
He's got that now. 3-item spike is hit. This is where it's do or die for GenG. This is your last real big team fight here. You win this fight, you can maybe even turn it into a
Ih,
Baron.
gak kena.
Oh no, Duro!
Yeah, Duro not stunned up by the heroic charge. That is a big deal. Ruler was there with Slurkle support, which does allow him to get himself to safety. Keen trying to pick up this wave in the side. And you can see Canyon makes his way back. We'll see what he can actually purchase here, as there are 40 seconds until this Cloud Drake. Chovy level 15. Wanting to hit that extra level if he can. Don't know whether he's going to be able to.
Vision score sampai
Yes, he will hit level
107.
16. There it is.
Gue aja sampai 40.
This is
Udah
it, but
ngap-ngapan,
unfortunately
bingung
for
naruh
GenG,
wardnya di
because
mana.
Duro was caught there, they had to play defensive around, and they don't get any vision
But I
on
learned a lot.
Dragon. They're
Jadi
actually
kayak
setting their eyes here on this
whenever
Baron
carry I
instead
go
first, trying
sama
to
si
draw T1 in.
gimana?
Death
Duro
Dance
ya?
completed
Duro.
here with Doran as well.
Duro.
He is a
So
full item ahead of Keen.
Taruh
You
ya.
know, you look at Chovy's items here, he's
Buang,
gone for the
buang,
utility
taruh, taruh,
of that
taruh, taruh,
arm
taruh.
guard. It's all Ruler. It's Ruler or bust in this team fight. That is all that matters. Is does Ruler get it done? Can you set him up? And T1,
Soul for Baron.
yeah, T1 need to pivot over to this Baron.
Well, I mean, Soul is going to be pretty important as well, but GenG, they are doing a fair bit of damage to this one, looking to clear out vision as well as Chovy slinks back into the fog of war.
Kamilnya
T1
jauh,
is still
Kamilnya
very
jauh.
dangerous though, as Keen looking to rotate up. They have vision that
Kamilnya
this dragon
jauh.
is not being taken. This is going to need to be a
Okay.
turn from GenG. As Keen, he's just going to walk over here and look to start this one up as T1 just searching for where GenG went. This little runaround, this do-si-do that GenG did will be able to deny the soul.
That was
very
a really
cute.
high-value blue trinket here that actually identified that Doran got off the dragon. They then scried where he was and came over here while pulling T1 to the Baron. And GenG just quite literally ran a circle around T1, playing around vision really well. They don't have to force an awkward fight. They're all able to escape. Even Canyon, who was on the wrong side of that pit, and they get the dragon. They deny it from T1, and they get some more time here before we get that big 5v5.
Maybe some tempo vibes being pulled back in the GenG direction. Them in general still belong to T1, absolutely, but a little bit maybe making it feel a little bit closer, and the gold advantage is not really there for T1 anymore. GenG have been able to pull that one back relatively well. As you can see, 2,000 gold at 30 minutes into the game.
And the turn off of Baron is kind of awkward for T1. It's going to be so reliant.
Oh, yeah. Public execution comes down. The flash forward from Keen, and Doran gets over the wall, but Keen follows him with the ulti. Canyon comes down, but I think this would have been a solo kill for the Camille, and I'm pretty sure she's online, but the jungler was in the bottom lane.
And that means they just have to hard send it in the bottom lane and try to get as many turrets as they can. They're going for mid first, and they're going to try to get that bottom outer as well.
Yeah,
1, 2.
The catch from the ulti out of Duro is fantastic, but the
Nice zone, nice zone. Okay.
Turret is still getting worked on. Fake is still alive. Down goes Canyon as Chovy's heroic entrance doesn't look exactly like that, but Keen is
Nice.
monster. The Crescent Guard comes in from Owner, but he still goes down. Double taunt from Chovy, and the Winds of War will be able to take another one down from the grave. Faker is going to be able to shut him out. But GenG
It's only Guma's Baron that remains. They make the call to not push for that bottom inner turret, instead collapse on the teleporting Orianna. It all starts off here with Keen down an item, hitting, look at that damage on that first Q. Doran then gets ulted over the wall by the Hextech ultimatum, and is just unable to compete here with this Camille. You see that Keen, or rather Canyon, shows up.
1,000 gold for Keen as well.
Faker is caught here, but his timing on his Zhonya's is phenomenal. Unfortunately, though, there's just so much setup here for GenG with all these melees, and Ruler isn't even here yet. Watch what happens when he shows up as Keen goes into the backline here. Ruler's ultimate getting so much work down, or buys some time with his ultimate, and then Chovy, the double taunt,
set of the
almost
game.
escapes with his life there, and Guma's the last Baron standing. So again, GenG is kind of running circles around T1 on the map, utilizing this Camille pick, even behind. Now only, it's actually ahead, in fact, of Doran gold-wise here, and look at the dent in the gold difference over time graph here that just hit.
And the ridiculous thing is the amount of shutdown gold that GenG just got from all of those kills, because it was only Guma that survived, and he was the one that was behind. He was the only one that was already behind in this game.
And like, the GA is completed, and now it's item parity for the top laner.
Yeah. And it's just kind of absurdity. I wasn't expecting to be talking about this, or the fact that it's 7-11 in kills. It's a very convenient kill score at the top side of the map. As GenG looking to defend on this bottom side. Chovy will be able to push this wave in towards the inner and mid lane. But it looks like T1 want to find themselves a fight, as Keen is off on the side, that GA in hand. The double siege minions are looking difficult for GenG to do anything about, as Canyon charging that Vault Breaker. The engage brawl comes in from Duro as they're looking to split these fights, but Canyon is so difficult to deal with. Doran getting into that backline though, as now Ruler's doing his best to kite him out, and the public execution is ignorable, and now Chovy finds 3. Justice for Owner, as it's a double for Canyon, and the GenG freight train is burning down the bottom lane as Ruler picks up his 3,000th assist.
What the
and I have
fuck
a feeling
happened with T1?
the Camille scaled in this game.
I think so. Down goes Guma. It's the clean ace of T1. And when we go back and look at how that play started, I think a lot of it is Doran late on the TP. He thinks that T1 is still safe without him, and surely the engage prom won't do. We're safe. They're safe to continue to siege and push. They have the double cannons. But look at where Doran is on the map. I think if you want to play this far up and play around your double cannons, you just got to bring your Ambessa. Instead, they decide to 4-1 it. And GenG are like, no, you step both carries forward. Yeah, both carries caught your Faker first. And then look at Ruler's damage here. Doran shows up, and he's just shredded immediately as they try to buy time for the rest of T1 to get out. But Keen gets in the back line with Chovy, has GA, so it's not even a sacrifice of the Camille. And when you have this Yunara in the late game, okay, sure, he hit 3,000 assists, but they are assisting him. He is the main character of this draft. And Gun will be the last to fall. And T1 now incredibly far behind in this game.
Yeah, the problem is that GenG have kind of hit the things that they needed to. GA back again here for Keen. There is another one now on Canyon at the same time. And T1, there is still Cloud Soul available for them if they can lock this one down, but things are looking so much more difficult. All of the ultimates still there here as GenG look to see what they can do. T1 still formidable, still scary as the Slurkle comes in. Keen just halving the health bar of Ona as he dashes on top, but it's not a full commit here from GenG. They're making sure they have the vision. They are still respecting what T1's going to be capable of.
Hard to get something done with Shockwave here when they have choke point control. Banana Brush, they're constantly trying to put control words in it, but just feeding them to GenG as they're cleared out repeatedly. This means Faker just doesn't have any agency. And I think that T1 are just going to have to give this up.
What is the Galio poke? What the heck was that about?
Big damage.
It's actually doing a fair bit of work. Here's Keen, finds the angle. He gets on top of Ona, but it's ruleless damage that we need to be wary of. And he takes down Doran. The Crescent Guard comes in, but Chovy just says, no, you're not allowed to engage. Duro and Canyon dealing with Ona off to the side, and the rest of the fight is going to be there as Keen gets out of the way of Faker, and Faker will overextend, unfortunately. Chovy able to take that one down. Steadfast presence just doesn't feel very steadfast at this stage of the game, and GenG just think, nah, it's not really about the Dragon when we can kill a Nexus and take game one.
I think the eyes were for Dragon. T1 get caught by the Keen flank, and their eyes are now for Nexus. Is Keen so far behind this game? How many games is this guy gonna be? Like, remember, his game was 1-4 on Gwen, and just pops off later. This guy is taken over.
Well, Carrier now trying to be a hero, but that charge ain't going to work.
Yeah, this game is for GenG. This game is for GenG.
GenG looked, they gave up so much in this game. They looked down and out and are able to turn it around and pick up game one in this best of 5. And if all the games are like this, I might...
Roller play pretty good. Chovy... no, GenG pick... punya banyak kontrol yang bagus. Ketika nyulik satu champion dari T1, they do a pretty great job to clean up the others. Dan bukan agak aneh sih, tapi lebih ke they do a pretty good job pick countering T1 champion and their skill set.
Just bought GenG enough time for Ruler to become the fountain laser, the god.
Karena ketika Corki berhadapan sama Yunara, Corki don't do that much damage or ketika team fight juga.
So many shutdowns. It was a mistake that lost them that game. I don't think it was the draft. And I agreed with what we did said, you know, 70% draft, 30% gameplay. Draft was a success. Just wasn't quite enough as GenG were able to close it out in the end. We are going to go to a short break. When we get back, the space is going to break it down, and then we could have 4 more games of this. Hell yeah.
어차피 공도 없어서 다 연습 없다. 그냥 터치면 돼.
최대한 라크하는 거 막아볼까? 폴키 궁만 생각해.
라클 내가 폴키 공 앞에서 맞을게.
저거 내가 방패 폴키
내가 맞게.
라클만 못하게 하자.
라클만 남아.
그냥 때려 박자. 막았어 한번.
I'm back.
그냥 터.
나탱.
나한테.
나이스. 빡세게 갔네.
네 전령을 못한 것 같아 내가.
It's square. Oke, barang udah datang satu. Oke. Udah, aku beli right pick ya, mau ambil paket dulu, bentar.
Oke.
GenG over T1, and most of the time, we're like, hey, get to the matches. No, this time, get your pens out, get your notepads out, because we're going to teach you something about macro, because the two of the best teams in the world just taught us a whole lot, plus an animation kit Degon here alongside Chronicler and Within. What a way to kick off this matchup. This is what we wanted, right? And obviously there were a couple of key plays that T1 fumbled, which is why the game kind of got turned around. But we'd also be doing a disservice to GenG to not give them credit.
Hi chat, I'm back.
How well they handled
Alright.
the losing situation in this game. And really, it was kind of the perfect representation of these two teams, where T1, when they're playing on the offensive, very often looks nigh unstoppable, but GenG's macro and the rotations around the map are such a pleasure to watch.
Yes, GenG have a better macro. GenG have a better communication, but mechanically T1 emang per member emang juara.
You're not gonna do anything here. So here's why GenG is considered as the best team in the world right now. So they know they're gonna lose a soul if they don't do anything. So they're gonna bait out from the Nasher. So T1 had to react. They cannot just put Dora on the Drake pit. So GenG pull the T1 members on the top and they just get out of here. Cause like they don't have engage tool from T1 here. So they already knew that T1 cannot actually engage on GenG here if they just bait it out.
And that's one of the big things, is that because this is Xin Zhao Poppy, they have really good snap engage if you can close the distance.
Yes.
But you don't have a Nautilus, you don't have a champion like a Leona that can really hard force and engage even from a while away. So
Great.
as a result, while that's happening and GenG are faking a flank from Canyon, Keen is doing the Dragon, and Keen obviously has a crazy amount of damage available with that Q, so they get Dragon here at first. And this by itself, it's nice. You know, it's just a denial, but that isn't really enough to turn the tides yet, right? Because they still don't have control topside. T1 pushes in, but then they find another big turnaround play.
Yeah, because of Canyon dragging T1 players on the top, so that's why Camille had such a huge tempo on the bot side, so he could actually position himself to behind of Ambessa, so that's why this happens on the bot lane. And I think all these macro things happened after like that one play on the Nasher, you know, they got to kill Ambessa on the bot side. It was really huge, by the way. It was huge shot on the bot lane.
So much gold. They know they give up Nash while doing this. And this mistake from Faker, that TP in, this ends up being what I think prompts the win for GenG here. Because they immediately realized the mistake that he's made, hard engage onto him, and they are, if Carrier doesn't knock Rule away, this game is just over here, by the way. Like, it's just immediate end. But because they don't have that much damage, it's a bit messy. So many of the Barons are gone.
So you might thought GenG just lost a Nasher here, but they actually did it intentionally. You know, they were willing to give up the Nasher and get so many things on the other side, and that was just insane trade-off by GenG, because in terms of like how they were behind in this game was just crazy.
And with both these two teams, if you make one step out of turn, like this TP from Faker was trying to hold on to mid turret. That's what it comes down to. That's the one step out of turn. That ends up, I think, deciding the game, because that means that all the Baron buffs are gone, and that means there's only a single Baron buff remaining on Guma.
Yeah, and here now they try to use the Nasher buff on the bot side. Then you're gonna see what happens here. Unfortunately, Faker is gonna miss his shockwave. But after that, look at Duro here. High risk, high return. Braum animation cancel engage here.
What is this?
So you can actually cancel your ulti animation during the air with the shield. So all you need to do is press W and E and R at the same time. So you can actually like ult during the air. So like that's what happens on the bot side. It was only one window from Duro and he makes it.
And this is, I think, also a runoff effect. There is only one Baron buff because of the previous play. Faker doesn't have flash because of that as well. And then GenG, off of those two moments of weakness, claw back a game where they were a good amount of gold behind, where they didn't even necessarily would have won the team fights. They're playing into carry as Poppy, into owner Xin Zhao. They're down Soul Point as well, and yet they get the win. So to me, this first game, perfect encapsulation of both these two teams, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the series brings.
That highlight was 32 minutes in game, by the way. They were actually behind for 30 minutes, and they made this comeback, which is insane.
The resilience of GenG on full display. T1 showing that they can shore up some of their drafts, get those early leads, have great hands, but the macro play just a bit short there at such a high level. What a game number one. Let's get into game number two.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for that breakdown of game number one. And it really does show that when you get to competition at this level, it is the tiniest of moments that can really change the outcome of a game. One shockwave, one teleport, and you could really just find yourself in a losing position after they had such an incredible start to the game. You have to remember, like, you know, we were highlighting the fact that Faker's teleport wasn't fantastic, you know, putting the ult on cooldown, not necessarily great, but in the early stages of the game, he was finding those incredible picks, winning the team fights with that 3-man shockwave around the Herald. The reason they were in such a good position was that guy on your screen, but it just shows that as soon as you make one mistake, it can just mean the end of the game.
Yeah, at this level, it absolutely will. Now we're moving into game two where the drafts are a little bit unusual because picks like the Rumble didn't get touched, right? You know, the Pantheon is still available.
Yep.
But picks like Braum are gone. Camille is gone. And so it's quite unique. The Yunara being also not a factor for the rest of the series this early is definitely pretty strong for GenG, who did end up winning on the blue side here. So a little bit more bans they can afford on red side.
Yeah, so the classic bans that we used to see, like the AYs that would always come out, well, it's going to be still an A.
Yeah, A.
As we do have double A's coming on through here. I'll see whether we get triple A, make the battery a little smaller.
Annie ban?
No, it's up. We're just going to get up happening here. As the Pantheon band on blue side is kind of curious. I feel like the Jarvan stocks are what are through the roof right now.
GenG can still ban it in third position here now. And the Nico is banned again, this time by T1, as they don't want to B1 it, but don't want to give a strong rotation over to GenG on red side. I think it's warranted to ban Jarvan here.
Yeah,
I think it's just that strong right now.
I think it's the ban that you have to be taking away at this point in time. It does mean possibly giving away Carrier's Bard or something like that, but is that first pick priority? I'm not entirely sure. We'll just have to see what they do decide to go with. The Bard will be banned. That is a lot of respect for Carrier, understandably so. But I do think the Jarvan is such a pivotal pick, and that will be snapped up without too much hesitation here by Owner.
Now, I suppose they're kind of thinking about the fact that the Orianna is gone. They're less. It feels less bad to give the Jarvan in this scenario, but a lot of jungle bans here. Obviously, the Fearless bans on top of it. I do wonder now what canon will play into this, as the Qiyana early in the draft is a little bit scary. I was straight up going to mention, I see the hover, it makes me very nervous, as we have not seen this pick find success. I like Annie a lot more, but I'm still going to play Annie Qiyana.
Annie Qiyana sounds, yeah, that sounds pretty scary. And some of the issues that we've seen with the LCK Qiyana is landing ultimates. It's easier to land them if
okay, rising pick.
Maybe the
Doran Jarvan.
1-2 punch is going to be enough here, but Faker is on his famous rise as the response.
To
And
be
T1, I mean,
Ben
as far
Aziz.
as Fearless Box concerned, this is looking pretty powerful. The Alistair even coming on through there, giving Carrier so much playmaking power.
I thought we were just going to see the classic Sivir rise, special value decently high here for T1, and the side lane pressure the Rise has, plus the wave clear the Sivir can be so strong. You already have the Jarvan on your side, but they go for the Alistair instead for its flexibility in team fights. Ooh. And Keen just gonna blind the Scion. A pretty safe blind pick in a draft like this, and we'd have the whole top side locked away here for the side of GenG. They can protect this Scion pick now with their bans. You know, Aatrox, Renekton, these picks have been quite strong into it at the moment.
Yep, certainly some things that you can remove. I think you have to ban Sivir as well, with the fact that you can't pick it up because there's a Jarvan on the other side.
It's quite a tricky situation here for GenG now.
Yeah, and they are pretty short range. I mean, I think everyone is short range at this point in time. The Gwen going to be taken away first, and the Rakan going to be removed. I actually half expected the Rakan to be the third pick, just because T1 had already locked away their support. You know, you could just go for it. We know that Annie Rakan is so powerful. T1 recognizing that, but surprising that the Scion did get priority locked in. instead of that. Still, they're able to protect it. We'll see whether it is going to work out.
A pick that skirmishes well, and there's the Sivir, and that works really well with GenG's comp here, AD carry-wise, is this area, actually, at this point in time, with the Alistar already locked in. It's kind of difficult to lock her down because she can just dash away from the Cataclysm, and they have such good frontline for her anyways, and a lot of skirmishing power for her to get online early. Like, this is another angle where you'd love to see, like, Yunara, obviously it's banned away, but it's a similar type of AD carry that skirmish as well. They banned the Kai'Sa instead here. So let's see, I mean, the other picks you could look for here with this is like even Jinx, right? There's a lot of skirmishing power here and reset potential. Ruler looks very excited about whatever it's going to be.
The Grin really did worry me there just a little bit. We'll see what he does decide to lock away, as of course they could take a support because they've already seen the Alistar, right? So Duro could be locking in his pick. Camera Guy feeling the same way as we do get a bit of a zoom in.
Yeah, and then you can wait and see, but instead it'll be Jhin.
Just the pick away of the Jhin, not allowing Gumayusi to play one of his most successful champions. If that is indeed locked in, and there it is, we wait until the very end of the timer before that one does come down.
That's a fairly risky pick here. I'm not a big fan of it. I like what it would have been for T1, as you mentioned, kind of a pick away here, but not a lot of consistent damage unless this Qiyana gets online in this draft here for GenG. Ziggs, maybe the answer for Guma, a pick that he has traditionally avoided, but played it recently in playoffs, and is looking to play it again here in this bottom 2v2 with the Alistar.
Ziggs!
Gumayusi has played a lot of Ziggs, actually.
Yeah.
It's in sort of his like top 15 picks or something like that. He's sitting at like a 55, 56% win rate, something like that on the champion, but just hasn't necessarily been known for it more recently, and hasn't found a lot of the pivotal game success on the champion. It's going to be Misfortune locked in instead, as the Aatrox going to be the answer.
I much prefer the Aatrox here when you're running MF. Just a little bit of an extra threat, and with Sundered Sky, you can't go wrong on this pick on flanks. So difficult to kill the flanking Aatrox in a draft like this. Plus, you have Realm Warp to play around. This draft is really multifaceted here for T1. And I think it's going to be hard to sell me on this draft for GenG with any support pick they go with here in that final spot in bottom lane.
I'm expecting Leona.
Yeah.
Because there's an MF. So they are just going to lock that one in. It is going to be, like, if this GenG composition gets rolling, it is very scary. Especially with the fact that you tag anyone, then Jhin locks them down, and then you can find these picks one after the other. The follow-up that they have with this Qiyana is high. The problem is, Qiyana doesn't win. Like, ever.
I'm probably going to get a little bit deeper into that when we get into the game itself, because this is just draft versus draft here. But at this point for GenG, I think you really need to snowball this game early, and the Qiyana needs to be a massive threat for the entirety of the game. With the cost of her 2 items reduced massively, you know, she does spike quite early, and she can win those early skirmishes quite well, especially when you're playing into an MF. If you can get that access, you have the Jhin, you have all the setup, it can work. It just has not worked in our region, and I'm worried about what happens if we go to an even game state, or even worse, if GenG are behind. T1 just have so many win cons in this draft.
Yep, they certainly do, and it just feels like it's a little bit easier to navigate with a draft like what T1 have put together. If you go back and look at what GenG had last time around, it was pile-in lockdown. It was Camille, Galio, and a hypercarry. We've seen these compositions so many times. That's what T1 kind of has this time around. Plus, they have that coveted Jarvan that is so incredibly good at winning, and on the other side, it's the Qiyana. It hasn't won yet here in the LCK. Let's get onto the Rift.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for game number 2. And all we want is for every single game to be like game 1. That would be great. I'd like alternating winners each time until game 5, in which case anyone can win. It's fine. We just need 5.
Well, Atlas,
that would be the best.
I think if you're the Qiyana team, you're hoping it's not like game 1, because if you're falling behind with this draft, it's not as easy to get back into the thick of things. And My personal take, we've talked about this a little bit on the space as to why Kiana is not doing as well in the LCK, is because the LCK is such a calculated region where team fights are often decided before they break out based on numbers, based on who's got vision control, based on who's set up to engage and who's not. So it's hard to just scrap with Kiana. We saw... This could be a trap.
Yeah, Duro is in a lot of trouble. The headbutt pushes him back as he gets the stun onto Gumayushi, but even though he's not going to die or use flash, it is kind of massive because these minions are already here. And the Leona already doesn't have very much health bar.
Another
Steam
one
walks out.
No, I'm not going to actually look for anything with this. And the Kiana, I think that we saw like one good Kiana ultimate this whole playoffs. Right?
I think Raptor had some good games, or a good game. It didn't win, but it looked like he went 3-0 at the beginning. Very Raptor-esque, of course. As Ruler is...
The game I'm thinking of is the game where Owner played Kiana and to Honor Life Esports in the Smolder game, and they won that first team fight on Grubs, and he had phenomenal ult. He split the team in half. And those kind of scrappy fights don't get too often in the LCK, so it's hard to generate a lead. It is going to be Electrocute here for Canyon, not First Strike. We've seen both different runes here to try to generate gold with the First Strike, but the burst damage that Electrocute gives you, I think, is just far superior, and I think we've seen a big pivot across the LCK towards that. As Owner is
the level
3 Jarvan.
That's a bit scary. Hebapolv does bring Carrier in there as we started off the fight. GenG get the information, but I don't know whether it's going to be enough as the flash out from Duro. The flash
dapat satu.
step is not good enough.
Honor.
The Jarvan just gets it done every game.
That's crazy what Jarvan can accomplish at level 3, one of the strongest junglers at this, and
the wave state is doomed right now.
It's actually unplayable, and Ruler, he's not gonna have, like, even if Canyon tries to come down here and support, it'll mess up his farm, by the way, which needs so desperately, and I don't know if he's really gonna be able to fix this, so yeah, this is also the losses that we have. 4 games at Kiana, she's 0-4. That Owner game, he had that fantastic ult early, but they got out.
Halo.
I think that was
Di rumah deh.
Jarvan, by the way, he's kind of winning.
Di rumah gue habis ubah
Meja,
kursi meja.
Owner game? Yeah, there's a lot of really good
Paket
games
gua dateng deh.
playoffs.
Yeah, he did get a pentakill.
Anjay.
Lu liat streaming gua?
That got said pentakill. I was really expecting the Jarvan to be the highest priority ban.
Gue habis ubah layout meja gue nih.
Obviously now,
nice.
they're not going to have to worry about it for the rest of the series. They already have a
Jadi
one
langsung
game
tembok
buffer
aja.
in this one.
Apa pakai
There
apaan
are
yang datang?
reasons to let it go
Ayam.
through and let things happen, but
Oh.
I'm still a little bit concerned. Every loss is
Ayam.
dangerous, and T1 when they get
Itu kemarin itu ayam gue kayak kepanasan deh Ton. Sekarang udah normal lagi.
Udah normal kan?
Deh, aku ketiduran deh, terus ada kamu di mimpiku. Ada kalian berdua di mimpiku, anjing. Aku tiduran di meja, Cok.
Apa sih anjing?
Aku kan lagi nonton.
Semalam sampai jam berapa Ton? Edo. Main.
1 game doang.
Sampai jam 1 kayak semalam.
Enggak sih, Lado masih main coy. Tigaan tuh.
Anjing. Alistar Asis emang nggak ada obat anjing. Mati. Sip.
Kamu nggak pernah main Alistar kan?
Gue mau main Alistar ntar malam. Gue main Alistar.
Terus nunggu malam.
Enggak, abis CLassico ini gue main pakai Alistar.
Si Gorski kemana?
Ngantuk, tidur.
Sumpah deh, aku bangun gara-gara ada ngomong anjing.
Jadi suara gue gak sleep label ya. Orang malah bangun dengan suara gue.
Langsung semangat tuh bikin pengumuman di radio pagi-pagi RRI Pro 3 Palangkaraya coba. Selamat pagi Kota Palangkaraya.
Apa tuh kalau ini? Pesan ini disponsori oleh Dinas Perhubungan.
Pesan ini disponsori oleh Nggak dong, rumah makannya dong.
Rumah makan.
Rumah makan sederhana.
Rumah makan Padang lu apa namanya?
Sederhana.
Oh sederhana.
Tadi belum tahu ya.
Belum tahu gua. Sederhana yang asli itu punya lu deh.
Punya om gua.
Oh.
Gua megang cabang di Kalimantan. Tempat gua.
Nice.
Anton kita kayak satu pulau Kalimantan.
Iya makanya gua langsung bilang tempat gua aja.
Palangkoi ya.
Iya.
Iya anjing cakep banget ini. Keria, lu akhirnya perform anjing game tadi lu ngapain?
Tadi bukan mapnya T1 soalnya.
Wah, kok map, Pak? Kan mapnya sama terus, Pak.
Kemarin sama terus ya.
Kan mapnya sama terus.
Makanya lucu.
Kalau Valorant
Iya, lucu
baru
tuh.
gitu tuh baru.
Tadi bukan mapnya T1 cuy.
Enggak, maksudnya
Nyari-
yang tadi tuh udah tahu musuh lu Yunara, lu ngapain ngepick Corki?
Ya buat ngelepas aja.
Lu nggak bakal
Itu game pertama.
dapat distance anjing. Tapi dengan fearless draft kelihatannya masuk akal sih buat ngebuang satu game, cuma riskan juga.
Udah pasti masuk ke dunia ini. Ini turnamen HI aja buat mereka ini.
Dua-duanya udah masuk Worlds juga sih.
Iya, dua-duanya udah masuk loh.
Udah masuk loh.
Ya, udah.
Ini udah kayak eksibisi anjing.
Have fun aja katanya.
The 500 gold lead though that Trophy does have is mitigating a lot of the advantage that T1 put together. It was about 800 before, now it's only 300 as far as the advantage is concerned. One away from Feats of Warfare though, as we are still yet to see this Hextech Dragon go down. Second game in a row with a Hextech as Dragon number 1.
Ini gue sengaja gue taruh dekat dinding ya, biar pencahayaannya bagus sebenarnya bagus.
Apa?
Pencahayaan kamera. Lampu gua, soalnya kemarin gua ngebelakangin lampu kan. Ini sekarang gua di depannya lampu.
Ini bagus loh. Udah kayak streamer ini. Punya studio sendiri.
Yo iya, tinggal kasih form aja.
Tinggal belakangnya ini sponsor tuh.
Anjing, sponsor.
Rumah makan Padang sederhana Palangkaraya. Sudah makan nasi rendang hari ini?
Coba ganti lagi warnetan.
Nice. Come on Doran, you can do it.
Anjay, jadi merah.
Tolol.
Anjay, di Stan Morgana.
Kontrol.
Ya.
Apa sih jam 2? Aku bikin kopi dulu ya, sebelum terlalu sore ngopi.
Oke, sayang, hati-hati.
Be right back.
Sekalian satu dok.
See owner is rotating around here, grabbed first grub, and is now actually looking to try to take ruler out of the picture here. Has Cataclysm.
Yep, Carrier is going.
Nice. Honor. Nice. Faker mati. Anjing nggak mati cuy. What the fuck?
There was no explosion.
Yeah, calculated, I suppose you could say.
Idola lu Faker, kenapa disuruh mati?
But it's still a successful play.
Enggak deh, health-nya tuh tinggal satu bar.
Goes over to Owner. Ultimately, in the end, that last tick of damage from Guma does not actually get the kill. But I think Owner kind of likes taking the kills in this situation. I don't think they feel too bad about it. We've seen what this guy could do with Jarvan. Ruler tries to get back away from the turret here. The aggro is already picked up though by Carrier. He's taken out by Owner with the Cataclysm. He's just a sitting duck in this scenario. See, the ulting Scion comes over to try to patch the hole. Faker does get caught though on rotation.
Yeah,
Realmore denied.
Tried to get in there, was unable to do so. It did cost Chovy his flash to make it happen, as Phase Rush is broken.
Yeah, it's crazy he still gets out. Like, when I watch this replay, I'm like, are we sure he gets out? Does just barely get away.
Didn't quite have the electrocute back, I guess. So just wasn't quite enough damage there from Chovy. Little unfortunate. Not end of the world or anything like that here for GenG thus far, but
Umbral Glaive start here for Canyon, by the way. That is not normal. That is not what we have been seeing. Axiomark and Profane Hydra has been the build with the reduced cost of
Lu tau gak, semalam kan main league kan?
from what you used to, and
Gua main micro sleep anjing. Jadi tidur bentar bangun. Saking ini nggak tahu lah what happened to my body anjing.
Iya kata Lado, lu main coba muter-muter map doang kerjaan.
For its cost. But yeah, we just keep dropping bears.
Yep. And Roller tried to go for the invisible deadly flourish, doesn't quite work out there. As Doran this time with no flash, and he is just dead. That was a supreme display of nothing that he could have done about it.
Yep, and that's a good Kiana ult, okay.
Yeah, nailing the first one, there we go.
1 for 1 so far, and that's putting her a little bit further accelerated in this game.
Ih, nice honor. Mampus Coffee, mampus lu anjing.
That's a very strong job and to take down the Canyon a little bit slow. Picking this one up, they'll take themselves the plate and Canyon will be able to clear out these minions.
I mean,
But it's still looking good for T1.
A third kill, gets Tibbers, gets a plate. So yes, Canyon had the successful play there on the top side, but this was a big win for the side of T1. Faker gets the assist, gets a little bit of plate gold as well. That gold deficit shrunk massively after Chovy is shoved out of this lane. And, you know, another successful move here by Owner. Sees the opportunity with Canyon there deep on the top side to find an angle. Knows the flash is down. Looks like a back was stopped here, I believe.
Yep, another back interrupted. Nicely done. So we're going to check this one out one more time.
And look at where Owner is right now, by the way. He's just a little bit too far away to actually save Doran. And then he just runs straight to the mid lane as fast as he can. And Chovy underestimates his engage range here. Look at how far back Chovy was. Still not far back enough.
Bring back Zeus. Yes, I agree. Bring back Zeus. Cuman, I think siapa topnya? Doran is doing pretty good lately. Cuma mechanically, ya, Chovy mati. Cuma mechanically Zeus emang lebih berbakat daripada Doran. Tapi gimana kasusnya Zeus juga dikadalin sama ini kan, sama lawyer kan.
We thought we'd see this one banned pretty much every game. Incredible that in this best of 5, Owner's able to get his hands on it, and he is just making such a huge impact once again. Immobile, flashless Annie in the mid lane.
And it's not like they have like the Yunara from last game to kill them out, right? It's a Jhin, it's a utility pick in the bottom lane for Ruler. Exactly. He is not going to be that secondary carry. So much was on Chovy's shoulders already, and Annie was already a little bit more of a utility pickup, right? Like this game is now resting on Canyon's shoulders to get this work done.
And I just don't think he can in this game
Ini
anymore.
gini Jeran
It's
bukan ya?
a lead
Sepertinya.
for Keen on Sion. No, that's something.
There you go.
Right? But where's the damage going to be? That's the
Anjing lah ini support
question.
dan support ini hanya saling menatap. Pindah. Oke. Nice. Oke, honor. Oke.
To help him out.
I don't know if that really Faker will really miss that realm more before this upcoming fight because they have full
Anjing panas
coil,
banget.
but bit of a whiff.
Now the bear comes down here as the room prison
Gil,
comes in.
Gil.
So Canyon is going to back away. Some spell.
Gue bakal streaming nggak pakai baju kalau ini masuk game 5 deh. What the fuck happened, GenG?
Just gets out of there though, protecting that shutdown gold. And Carrier is going to have to flash, but I just don't know whether that's going to be enough as he's running, and that is going to be able to get him to safety. Guma was just left alone though, with this bottom out of turrets.
He is going to get some plate gold here, and with this wave thinning out, I think this is going to be a trade up in terms of the turrets here for the side of T1. Canyon, of course, starts this dragon up. Owner does have flash and could look for a steal.
Halo ganteng, yakin nggak mau pakai baju? Kenapa? Anda mau farming klip ini saya? Zeyan ini emang. Ada sih ya. Mending celana sekalian. Aduh. Kalau itu ntar lu yang gua foto gue kirim lu.
Main deh.
Nah, gue mau live Hollow 9.
Hah?
Mau di story.
Oh,
Terlalu lah.
Hollow Knight.
Dok, mau tanya Dok. Kenapa ketika Hollow Knight sequelnya itu kan shadow drop ya hitungannya?
Enggak. Iya, shadow drop. Kenapa?
Itu kenapa? Gue scrolling Reddit banyak developer yang agak emosi karena tahu-tahu shadow drop gitu loh. Hollow Knight.
Bukan emosi. Lu kalau game lu keluar bersamaan dengan game yang ditunggu banget kayak Silksong, ya pasti lu sebel.
Oke.
Sebel.
Gimana tadi suaranya hilang anjing lu pada.
Nah, kalau misalnya Silksong tuh kan game ditunggu banget.
Ya.
Ya, lu mau punya game apapun, apalagi kalau game lu nggak ada hype-nya ya. Terus rilis pada saat yang bersamaan di hari yang sama dengan Silksong yang orang yang tiba-tiba rilis terus. Pasti lu bete lah.
Iya, pasti bete. Sepakat.
Game lu ketutupan.
Iya.
Silksong.
Nggak cocok gameplaynya Doran.
Kan itu juga orang-orang pada kemarin pada mundurin jadwal rilis game pas bilang GTA akhir tahun rilis kan.
Iya.
Taunya dia geser tahun depan.
Udah geser 3 kali kan gitu ya.
Iya, orang-orang pada sebel anjing. Gara-gara udah ngundurin ini.
Bentar, gue balas chat YouTube. Gak cocok gameplaynya Doran. Doran sebenarnya nggak. Iya, kalau bilang cocok gak cocok. Cuma mau gimana? Cuma sisa Doran dong.
Controller, kok tidak kebaca?
Cuma koordinasi top sama jungle-nya agak kurang sih. Maksudnya Doran nggak sedikit agak nggak cocok sama owner. Sama-sama inisiator, sama-sama berani maju.
Halo guys, selamat datang.
Lu
nge-live deh.
Live.
Oke.
Gue mau lanjutin story.
Itu Silksong apa? Yang pertama sih?
Yang pertama masih belum tahu apa kayak. Gue mau namatin.
Silksong.
I wanna sing a song.
You don't have a great target there. You don't have otherwise great CC or lockdown. The Jarvan side, he's got tons of mobility, great CC. Now as Sunder's guys had it for a long time, and Owner is super fed in this game, and they're gonna get this mid turret. T1's third turret of the game. Man, look at all those banelings.
Introt, mati lu. Introt.
Oh,
Rider.
5,000 gold is the lead as Carrier is going to interrupt a
Udah
queue. That was pretty cute. Gets a headbutt onto Keen here at the same time, who does ult to get himself out of the way. Carrier taking a fair bit of damage, but it's another charge from Shelly.
Yeah, maybe if he hit the turret, it could have been a little bit more high value.
Butuh gue nggak sih T1 nih?
Yep, I'm not against Doran. That is not going to work as he does break the chains this time around. But yeah, Doran is so scary on this Aatrox right now. Level 12 and 2-1 and 0. He's got a little bit of a gold advantage against the Scion now as well, as Duro is dead. Fake of Realm warps in, but it is just going to be the kill going over to Owner.
Tapi ngeliat ini ya, kalau lu lihat pertandingan ini bestu dibandingin sama final Nusantara Cup, anjing kualitasnya jauh banget anjing.
Aku bandinginnya sama final Nusantara Cup anjing.
Ya, jauh banget sih sama kejauhan sih.
Pukul lo ya.
Iya, tapi kan final Nusantara Cup itu kan menentukan buat main di Pasifik gitu loh. Berarti kan secara region apak ya juga. Iya, salah gua ya. Logika berpikir gua juga jelek ya.
Logika Anda tuh kalau dipakai. Final nih Madrid Barca misalnya Liga Primera tuh kau bandingin sama ISL Liga 1 itu kan sama-sama setara kan memang. Enggak mungkin sama pasti kualitinya.
Ya, betul.
Ada aja lo orang kurus dari cangkringan ini.
Keeps getting caught, just trying to get any semblance of vision as Faker may be caught.
Well, the flash is going to come on through. Double teleports invested as Owner is going to find Canyon here. There's the headbutt over the wall.
Ya, kasih Pasifik belum cocok buat yang Depal. Yang Depal even kalau yang Depal kemarin lolos Pasifik juga.
Another ult from Canyon that just
juga gak tahu sih, maksudnya tim Vietnam juga bagus-bagus.
Bisa ya, siapa yang jago League of Legends ya?
Saya, Gam. Sama CFO.
Itu dari mana dua-dua?
CFO tuh Vietnam, Gam tuh Vietnam.
Oh, Vietnam dua-dua ya?
Vietnam dua-dua. Sama tim Secret Vietnam tuh, kemarin final. Kalah sama LGD, tim Taiwan.
Tim Secret Vietnam?
Pindah Vietnam.
Bukan Philippines deh. Oh, dia beli roster Vietnam.
Betul.
And Carrier just takes the AD carry and Ruler, I mean, I don't think he started playing the game, but he's definitely not going to play the game in this one.
And has Canyon played the game in this one?
He's farmed. He has almost the most farm on his team, only losing out to Chovy, and he did have a slight lead in that department a little bit earlier on. It's kind of ridiculous. So if the game is farming simulator, yes, he's been playing.
Makasih.
Marcos ya?
Mana August?
Ya. Main Clash Royale.
Power Wash Simulator has been you know, it's been the talk of
Yeah,
the casting team recently. Some particular casters really enjoy that one.
I mean, that's
No,
the
kamu main
Achilles
game
heel
apa?
for me.
I wasn't
I'm
gonna
like,
name any names, but
have we just outed him as
Yeah,
the Power Simulator guy?
nothing wrong with enjoying
I
Simulator.
I wanna sing a
I've never thought of him as
song.
feeling ashamed about it.
I mean, like Canyon, I've considered Farming Simulator
Bye,
actually, like
bitch.
about twice a year.
Shit, nggak mati dong.
Consider to pick up Farming Simulator 2025. Like, it looks really fun. I don't know if I really have time for that, but it looks really fun.
Yeah, there's something satisfying.
I don't know if it'll make a positive impact on my life in any way. I like to play more
Rusuh banget, anjing.
narrative-based games. I'm playing through Metal Gear Solid right now, but
Oh, really? Bit of a blast from the past. Oh, the newer one?
no, the old one. The PS, you know me.
That's far
Well, I play new games
That's
now.
far more wolf. I know that there was a new one though that came out.
Yeah. Which is why I'm
Predik
playing the first
siapa yang
one
pulang.
and then hit Snake Eater, but Turret Eater is T1 down
Gua
the bottom
bias
lane,
T1
as they keep on
anjing.
con up, they're gonna get the
T1 kalah
scaling.
kan.
Yeah.
Just don't know if,
Regular seasonnya juga
they should
recordnya lawan
be.
GenG
They're
juga
so far
jelek.
behind.
Oh, Deadly Flourish comes on in. It is going to be Otacon picked
Ternyata
up
fourth
by
seed
T1
ke
very,
Worlds
very
ke
soon,
di
but GenG
T1.
are at least getting something for it.
Yeah, I mean if they get double turret, that's a lot of
Cuma
gold
ngerti
actually
di game
over
2
to
ini
GenG.
semuanya tiba-tiba
They will be losing this
perform.
towards the top side of the map, so I don't see it
Nggak ada small
necessarily
mistake
being
kayak
a
yang
phenomenal
pertama.
outcome.
It's not
Cuma ya balik lagi fearless draft
losing the
jadi
game outright by trying to
it's
fight on
unpredictable
Otacon,
every
so
game.
keeps them in this game.
Walaupun masih pakai yang soft ya.
So to speak, they're still 5,000 gold behind, and it's not a trade up, but I mean they got Chovy some money.
Yep.
That's a good thing for, you know, maybe some miraculous comeback where we see a big ult from the Kiana here from Canyon, or you know Chovy's able to just output so much damage in team fight where maybe Guma is caught or Faker is caught. You gotta hope for that if you're GenG in this game, is maybe a big overextension. We saw that error from Faker decided the game in game 1. I think it's going to take a few more of those errors to get the lead that GenG
Team
pulled
fight,
back
team fight.
Maybe they'll make a mistake, and that's what you kind of have to hope for here as GenG.
And Canyon is very strong, just with the amount of farm that he has picked up. The fact that he is only 300 behind Ono, who is 405 right now, is kind of mind-blowing.
It's hard to kill targets, so when you have this Bloodthirster MF, Faker obviously going for the Seraphs in this game, and will probably build Zonia's third.
Yeah, he needs the follow-up, absolutely. As all of GenG are grouped up, let's see whether they can actually find a target. As Ono to the side has been spotted. Keen tanking for a long time though.
Nice, Warner dapat Chovy. Canyon, nice buka ultnya walaupun miss.
Here from the Annie, but not full commitment, and Doran turns up and says no.
Anjing team fightnya kayak orang baru kencan, canggung.
Learned from not TPing until it was too late last time. Is like, I probably just be there just in case, and you know if they walk away, I'll just go side lane in the top lane. And look at the map. Like, if you toggled the vision for GenG, they can see like nothing outside of the base except Canyon dying.
Guma, cabut ya.
Oh, the bullet! Oh, that was pretty cute. Getting the zoom in there as well, as Canyon is very
cute
close to dead.
aja.
Yeah, no, that's an understandable human.
Perfect KDA in this game, though.
Yeah,
hasn't died yet.
He hasn't. You don't actually die very much in Farming Simulator, as it turns out. Not a very violent game.
Yeah, it's
not a violent one.
No real game.
Ya mau gimana?
Does have his Edge of 9 now, so 3 items complete here for the Kiana.
And the MF, top damage in the game, that's not a good sign for the team that's playing into the MF.
Yeah, I would say that we put that in the GenG cons column, absolutely. Also, him having all the money, also a bad thing, I would say, for them. Definitely a good bounce back here from Gumayushi, who had a bit of a rough one in game 1.
You know, Owner's 600 gold ahead, because, yeah, Canyon's been farming the jungle, he's been farming the champions.
Yeah.
And now there is no jungle for Canyon. He can't get out of his base.
Sometimes violence is a little bit more lucrative. That's what I'm learning here today.
Dapat nih Leona.
He has to be the one to do so, and unfortunately he's dead.
Cabut.
Very dead. If there were certain degrees of dead, he would be one of the high degrees of dead from that one. As it turns out, I'm pretty sure it's just, you know, it's just dead.
So maybe this will be the last Kiana game.
Di comms.
That's what I'm looking for, Atlas.
No, I just don't think it is. If it's still being played now, I think it's just going to keep getting played. It just must be really fun. It must be doing a lot of good things in scrims. You know, that's what I'm expecting. But also, it's doing a lot of winning in the LPL, right? Like, we know that it can win.
In other regions where they play very differently, I think it's very strong. And I also think that with how LPL teams play, if they clash with LCK teams, they'll have a better understanding of how to utilize the pick. Unfortunately, LCK just has not figured it out yet, and
it does kind of go back to the stakes of this series as well. If the playstyles are so different between regions, it's very dangerous for either T1 or GenG to be playing in that play-in best of 5, because you could just travel to China and then be there for like a few games and then go home. Like and for GenG or T1 to be one of those teams, that just sounds ludicrous.
One of those Chinese junglers might teach you how to play Qiyana on your way out as well.
You could just ask Kanavi perhaps, something like that. I hear that guy's pretty good at playing carries.
And I mean, you can just see, unfortunately for GenG, like they are just catching waves and hoping for T1 to make an error, and T1 is just not going to give them the pleasure. Carrier will avoid this Q. Seola's can avoid.
Deadly Flourish actually doing a fair bit of work here, but Carrier not even pressing the ult button, just looking to try and set up for a bit of a catch on a Keen, perhaps. He's put into the Cataclysm, flashes out immediately, breaks the chains. They're now going to need to go back.
What the fuck happened?
Doesn't have his flash now for the upcoming fight. Baron going to be on the minds of T1. They're doing their very best to lock down vision control. There is a cute little ward here in this brush, giving GenG a little bit of information. As in goes Ona. Deadly Flourish just to spot what's happening in that brush there, but it looks like GenG are not going to be face-checking just yet.
Okay, this is...
Oh dear, never mind. Maybe they will.
Anjir, Carrier initiate-nya cakep sekali. Cakep sekali.
As down goes Tibbers as well. Trophy doing battle against Faker here, who flashes to pick up the kill on his opponent mid laner. And now Keen finds his way into the fight, and he's going to take the death exit this time around after being a zombie for just a little while. And the curtains are not being called for
Kejar, kejar, Jinnya kejar.
I think they will actually be called for ruler, as now Owner is going to be making his way over and looking to try and take him down. The Realm Warp comes in. The Flag and Drag doesn't do too much of anything as the Aatrox delivery comes through. And Gumayushi's like, guys, why don't we just win the game?
They're helping and keeping the players from going back so they can win the game. That's what's happening. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's a little bit of something like that.
Kenapa nggak buka?
They're doing their very best to kite Doran around here, who doesn't actually get the heal from the redemption, as Canyon looking to block off the next two that are making their way over. Deadly Flourish is decent here, as this is some yakety sacks coming
nice.
Trying to get himself out. They have regrouped.
From nowhere. Oh my god.
And that was a weird little passage of play. But ultimately, it's going to be even more winning for T1 as it's given players like the opportunity to respawn before they win this game.
It almost feels like a psychological warfare move here from T1 as they just smash them all again before the Nexus falls.
Yeah.
And Atlas, we knew we would, but we have a series on our hands now.
It was already on
our hands. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. Just attack the fucking Nexus. Attack the fucking Nexus.
We'll make this one a best of 3. Game 2, Ona on Jarvan. We saw it last time out. GenG, I reckon, will be sweating after that performance. A real bounce back here from T1.
Carrier MVP.
Owner on Jarvan, but
Carrier MVP.
on Alistair as well, making such an impact. His TP play in that bottom side skirmish, his early laning phase, the trap he set up for Duro, and this was a huge swing of momentum here to T1. The Qiyana pick continues to look invisible here in the LCK, and T1 with a stronger draft. In my mind, there was no question they had way more win conditions than what GenG had, and GenG did not get ahead enough, and then the map was just dark. They couldn't see anything, they couldn't leave their base, and it was just a matter of time until T1 either cooked the Baron to win the game or GenG had to go check. And Duro kept checking, kept dying. And Doran does a ton of damage in this game. It felt like Doran in teamfights could just pick a target and chase them away and or kill them every single time.
Yeah, and it also just shows what happens when you've got the 80 carry that's getting all of the work done. And that's what happened for T1 this time around. Gumayushi really enabled by T1 to do all of that damage, get all of that money, and really secure the win here. It felt so much more comfortable for T1 with the advantages that they put together here, because they have all of that consistent DPS to lock down GenG. Also, like you were saying, dropped a little bit confusing on their side because Qiyana doesn't win, Jarvan does, and we'll see whether that will springboard T1 into a better standing for the remainder of the series, or whether GenG can fight back. Time for us to take a short break. When we get back, the Space gonna break that one down, and we'll have game number 3. We'll see you soon.
bener anjing. Apa namanya? Itu kok teamworknya.
Miskat bom. Banana.
CS Gus. Slot core-nya berapa tim? 4 tim. Jadi pertandingan ini sebenarnya nentuin T1 apa GenG yang play in. Kalau T1 menang, T1 play apa langsung ke main stage. Kalau GenG yang kalah, GenG yang play in. Port seat for Wolves from Korea.
3A to B. Blue, you hear, okay? You hear.
GenG sebenarnya udah lolos karena dia menang MSI kan.
Don't pick blue.
Di Cina ya, betul. Di Cina besok di Beijing apa Shanghai ya? Antara Shanghai atau enggak Beijing. Kenapa skin baru? Oh, ada yang belum. Oh, Kinjal. Dream Team kalau gue jadi coach. Mid Faker, ADC Ruler. Bentar, ini tim Korea apa tim?
Don't pick.
Apa dunia? Kalau Korea mah tim Korea yang menang Asian Games. Itu Dream Team tuh anjing. Kalau dunia dari satu orang dari satu liga. Kebanyakan bintang tuh emang dari ini sih. Korea. I think top buff, jungle Cadrel, mid faker, ADC-nya si Ruler, support Reckless. Top Korea Zeus, top mid-nya Baker, Carrier Ruler, jungle-nya pakai jungle-nya HLE tuh, gue lupa namanya tuh, itu jago tuh. Kalau Eropa nggak ngikutin ini CL. Tapi yang jelas Reckless masuk, Reckless Caps tuh masuk. Topnya nggak tahu, nggak ngikutin CL jadi nggak apa pemain CL. .230 berapa menit anjing? Oh, 1 menit. Bisa searching Wikipedia. ICL. Alah, jatuh. Masih emang atau ini nggak pernah nonton juga gue. Apa ya? LCS. LEC, League of Legends Europe Championship. Kalau yang sekarang paling caps, habis itu caps, Oscarinin, Isma, peduli, habis itu pakai terus apa ya? Labrov. Anjing delight, ya bisa tuh delight tuh. Anjing kenapa gue lupa delight ya? Tapi sebenarnya bisa ini gak sih? Rulernya ganti Uzi aja gitu. Kok gak Uzi sama kok gak tempat lo tuh Peanut, Zeus, Faker, delightnya ganti Uzi sama ruler. Bottomnya bot edisi. Asik banget tuh. Si Dev bukannya ke Cina ya? Udah pensiun. Iya Dragonex, katanya dia cuma one.
Kalau mau gol,
tapi kalau dikatain Manchester Wonder juga nggak bisa sih.
Putting it on, making sure that T1 claw back game number 2. It's all tied up here, 1-1 between GenG and T1.
I'm just so happy because I've always been told year after year better jungler wins. And then early on in this game, I was like, Owner's doing really well, but is it really? Yes, it is enough. The better jungler does win, although I guess the better jungler didn't win last game. I get this one. I think Owner has been just playing out of his mind. It's kind of insane how he's consistently able to have this much of an impact. And a lot of talk will be about the Kiana. I also don't think Canyon's Fire was that good. Like, to me, this match thus far is having a similar performance of Owner, which shouldn't come as a surprise. But I really
dia ini apa namanya? Wajib militer si Dev.
Blue, don't push blue.
This draft is optimal, especially in terms of the damage. I think the lack of damage. I think all the damage is actually
dia wajib militer tuh.
Had to really be far ahead in the early game, which was kind of blocked by Owner because he spam ganked every single time in the early game and he
sama kayak si Peanuts kan musim ini musim terakhir dia main pro, dia tahun depan mau wajib militer bela negara.
If they never fall behind, you can play with Leona, Annie, and Kiana. That sounds great.
Yeah, but what happens in the early game is that Carrier actually lent a huge trade onto Leona, and then after that, the follow-up with the Jarvan gang.
Yeah. No, Owner sit. Okay, he's dead.
Don't fall behind.
Okay, bot lane's behind, but mid lane, Chovy had like double the CS.
Yeah.
Okay, he was doing great. He was winning this matchup. Oh no.
Chovy knows too.
Oh, yep. He didn't have flash because of an earlier play that didn't kill Faker, and guess what? Not done.
Another gank.
Ya, Faker nggak dia karena dia menang emas di Asian Games, dia nggak wajib apa namanya? Nggak wamil. Itu tim Korea yang nggak wajib wamil tuh.
Yeah, and especially so the comp already struggles when falling behind. Especially if you have such a big deficit in the early game, but there's also the fact that you have a tank top laner,
si Zeus, Kanavi, Faker, Chovy, Ruler sama Keria. Itu 2018.
One mid.
2015 yang dia menang.
Live. You're live.
Menang apa namanya Asian Games itu nggak perlu ya 2002 nggak perlu ini pas ini Asian Games pre-evolution nggak perlu wamil. Itu sempat berantem kan fans T1 sama fans BTS kenapa main game bikin bebas wamil ini.
Nice one. Can you take Abupo? In ups. Oh yeah.
What really gets me is that he uses his root not on Faker, and then because maybe Chovy could have killed Faker, but he uses it on the Herald instead. So it is just a really disjointed performance here. And then from this point on, the game, like if they get maybe a crazy fight here, They could kind of try and fight their way back, but from this point on, the game is just done, and obviously continues. There's like a kill or two that they still get. They stall it out because they are GenG, but that game was basically over like 10 minutes in, and it was all thanks to owner on Jarvan. So truly 1v9ing his way, I think, for this. I obviously carry out a good game. We're not pretending, but I really just want to put in perspective how impressive it is what the jungler is doing here.
Yeah, and if we think about game 1 and game 2, this is kind of similar. It is T1 taking early leads, being proactive, and making plays happen. And then GenG were able to claw back that last game through that play. This time, it was just a lot of suffering until it ended due to the draft.
And what for me is the big difference maker is that in the previous game, Duro could play the game. Because Canyon hasn't proactively been that great, I think, this playoffs thus far, which is a large part of why they're here in this spot. And if Duro gets put behind early on, this team struggles because this man, to me right now, is the key initiator. We saw it. He literally had the catch on Faker in the bot lane that ended up winning the game.
Oh yeah, I think again I mentioned this before, that draft matters the most today, and I think the reason why they could come back after the losing the early game in the game 1 is because of their team comp, right? Like even though they're behind the early game, they still have the Camille with the side lane, they still have the window with the Galio Camille combo, but right now in this case you can't really do anything with those team competition when you fall behind in the early game. So I think GenG, they should just draft around the like insurance, you know, like they should have the late game some kind of champion that you can actually like do better on the team fight. But here they went for the early game, but they couldn't win it. So
and please, guys, we should be getting used to level 3 ranks again. They happen like 15,000 times.
Oh man!
Can we please adjust our timings? Like ward better, because when it was Raptor doing it like once or twice, I'm like, that's
streaming done.
But we have seen like half the games now have level 3 ganks, and they
always
work.
Yeah.
What's the last time a jungler went for level 3 gank, get spotted?
Asal nggak ngomongin politik aman.
And it was so clear as well.
Politik.
Langsung pekan baru satu tuh langsung tuh. Langsung tuh pekan baru satu tuh.
But that shouldn't have happened.
That shouldn't happen.
And part of it is because the early pressure with the Leona just kind of face checking at level 1 before the minions even got there. I think they were just so focused on trying to regain control of that lane that here comes owner, slides on in, and the game snowballs.
Ini kenapa casternya LCK ini satu kayak abang-abangan tongkrongan?
Gimana ya bang?
Ini Korea.
Orange, you good? Orange?
I'm good. No.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And yes, I think they hit the nail on the head. Certainly some drafting issues here, but this guy on your screen
you guys can
now,
save.
the king of their last best of 5, is once again on the throne. And this guy still looking a little bit iffy.
Look, if Canyon
Gue tuh sampai sekarang masih bingung gue coach di e-sport tuh ngapain aja.
Or in Italy, okay? But GenG do have blue side back. I completely agree with everything we did said about scaling. I think with how these early games are going and how the early games for Owner have just been phenomenal, both games, and obviously in the previous series against D+ as well. Just scale, you know, where's the Smolder, where's the Zeri, where's the late game win cons, where's the, as we did put it, insurance policy. I think that we saw in game 1, obviously we did not see in game 2. The Guard continues to be banned here, the Jhin obviously Fearless banned, so that's good for GenG in terms of the champs that T1 has relied so heavily upon.
So 3A.
Jungle going to join the ban list here. Nico is still sticking out quite a lot. And Pantheon are going to be the ones to look out for in this game. Pretty sure.
You go first.
Especially with the Troll King joining the ban
Ternyata
list.
T1 bakal going with Akali kalau nggak Yasuo. Bis itu Chovy can be playing Yone, I think, in mid. Ruler kelihatannya aiming for that Kaisa.
Rumble pick is still kind of lurking. I wonder if GenG banned the Aurora again. They could be fishing for it first here. Although they banned the Trundle, which would leave open the Ornn counter pick for Dorn if T1 wanted to go that way. There's the Aurora pick.
Tadi udah siapa? Ruler, Chovy.
On T1 side, perhaps looking for it themselves. They
keep banning this away from
playing. And it does mean now that the
I don't know.
like the Wukong Pantheon would need to be a trade. or they're both just going to be left up. And it looks
Ini
like
global
one of
ban,
them
ya
is
betul
gonna be
global ban.
getting, left up here as the Rakan is taken away.
Enggak
instead.
global ban. Iya global ban,
I feel
betul
like
betul.
GenG are looking for a Kaiser draft. I have no idea why. That's just what I'm feeling in my waters. My waters have been weird though, and I did predict the 3-0 that is now impossible.
I think they just are respecting Keria super heavily. And Keria, we talked about Owner a ton, obviously, in Game 2, but Keria's Alistair was insane, as Chronicle did mention.
There it is.
And looks like T1 feel the same way as you did there. We'll ban that Kaisa away from Ruler, so...
I did get
Come on, Kin, you're going to choose something tanky, isn't it?
I did watch him get his bottle of water out of the same fridge, so
we
maybe
all
the
get our
waters
balls
are the same.
Ooh, Nico!
Then why didn't you feel the Kaiser angle?
Because I got hot water out of the water.
Ah, see? You didn't even go to the fridge. Don't be
Wukong
like that.
jungle.
Okay. The Nico
Possible.
is going to be the consideration here for the first
Possible
pick.
belum dipakai.
One second mid.
Gauge potential, that is going to be a big one. Also, removing that one from Keria could be a great idea as well.
You've got to get the Wukong here now as T1. You don't want to give Wukong and Nico over to GenG. The question is what comes with it. Sivir, quite strong angle here with Jarvan removed.
Oh, honor Wukong.
Tons of great wave clear.
Damn, you're right, Jaran. You're right.
Pantheon going to be the response. And I'm okay with this pick. I think it's quite strong, but I think it needs to have a strong
Pantheon kan bisa. Nico bisa jungle, bisa.
Sivir's going to be constantly pushing those waves in mid. You need to be able to find value with this Pantheon pick in sides. Needs to be empowered by something that is going to win those side lanes.
I kind of just want to see...
And then Gwen fits the bill.
Gwen could be fine, as...
There's no Aurora.
There is a Rumble for Doran to hop towards if you would like to. We've seen Wukong Rumble get a lot of value. But Gwen isn't... It doesn't feel as bad in the Rumble matchup these days. Did lose some armor, not necessarily the magic resist, so isn't too worried about that one. Keen is also,
Who's go B with me?
Before in
I
the
play
series,
B.
Keen
Someone
very
with me?
good at going like 0-2 and then just not being phased. This guy seems pretty
Follow me,
untouchable.
Green. Follow me.
This
Push me.
is a big
Okay?
pick for Doran.
He could have gone
fighting on the Jack, so good.
He could have gone for something completely different.
This is
For the
interesting.
Rumble you mentioned, he could have
Push me here. Push me here. Push me here.
But he's like, no, I'm going to fight fire with fire. Super confident to lock this one in. And his Jax has been phenomenal. All of our top players have had such a great Jax that's kind of been teched into
Go back, Green. Go back, Green.
Used to be kind of a thing that was tied to Sejuani, but no longer here in the LCK. So we're still looking for the mid pick here for Chovy. We don't know what that's going to be just yet. Same for Faker, right? But I want something that has good wave clear. Zeri, we're going to be banned away from Ruler.
Ini di ban listnya apa yang dibicarain ya?
Zeri has been picks that have been traded in the past. Ruler's champion pool is going to take a bit of a hit here already with the Kai'Sa being banned away. No Zeri as well. The Sivir already locked in, and Gumayushi feeling happy about that one. As
B. One low. Run.
I don't see it possible. Buat Figure dan Ahri.
Two side.
I don't know. Everything can be. Yang jelas game ini T1 nyerang champion poolnya Ruler.
Wukong gets wild growth, it's just too strong. So Smolder, I guess it's scale off. They're like, no, we have Sivir, taking away the Zeri, taking away the Smolder. There's no Corki. What is going to be the pick here for Ruler? I mean, Ezreal feels pretty safe here, to be honest, for GenG.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a Jinx, personally, but we just don't really see that much Jinx these days. Jinx used to be a pick into the Sivir quite often, although Mega Inferno Bomb can be spell shielded. It is just the range advantage feels pretty good, but the Nautilus is going to be what they decide to take away.
I mean, there's an angle where they do the opposite and try to look for like an extremely strong laning pick.
Okay, we go B.
Doesn't have Braum, but
Nico Callista?
Nico Callista was the one I had in mind. Like,
you
have to snowball the game.
Never don't molly and don't stop. Okay.
Scaling option we were asking for, but certainly is an option they could go for if they don't want to go for the Jinx or the Aphelios. Or the Senna, God forbid.
Yeah, and you do have ways to snowball things early, and then Gwen can work as some late game insurance, as Faker will lock away the Talia. And let's see what Chovy's answer to it is going to be. A lot of the choices were in the AD carry position. The Xayah going to be the consideration here for Ruler.
I don't like that as much. Lucian doesn't have Braum, though. You don't have Rakan either.
I just don't feel like Xayah necessarily gets a massive amount of value when there's so many different ways and forms of CC.
Like, Nico Xayah gets you through the laning phase because the Nico is so incredibly strong. in the lane, but Sivir has spell shield.
Okay.
This kind of works because they're so reliant on their Jax and Wukong
Orange,
to get on top of the
don't
line that you can protect the Xayah with this a little bit more. It helps empower the Gwen. It's a lot of burst damage, but spell shield's value, it just keeps going up here for the Sivir.
Oh, we're still hovering in here as Duro. Let's see what it will just be the Ahri. And that actually makes me feel a whole lot worse. Sona is going to be hovered by Keria. We'll see what's bad about this for GenG, but way less
bad as game 2.
Yeah, way less inspired after the last 2 picks. I think the Xayah Ahri really did not do it for me. But the kite back is going to be there. It's just a lot more of a difficult game here for Ruler this time around, playing a short-range carry into so much CC and dive potential.
How do you kill the Sivir when we get to late game? That's a question they're going to have to answer, because they're going to have to go through so much to get to the Sivir, try to charm her. She might just block it. It's going to be a tough time here for GenG, but definitely a playable draft.
It certainly is. Jump into the rift here for game number 3.
Pian you Orange.
Aman kok, Jar. Aman.
You can run.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen.
And then
you can see Faker with the opportunity to lane up against his skin on the Ahri, which is pretty cool. Nice of Chovy to show him that one, as of course Faker does not use skins in the mid lane. Also hasn't played Ahri in a while, although it is a pretty iconic champion for the player, as is all of the champions in League of Legends.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I kind of caught myself on that one. I was like, hang on, we can't list it, because the list would be too long and the game would be over.
I mean, like, you're like, hey, you wouldn't say Lulu, right? You're like, well, actually, in fact.
As it turns out, one of his most played, to most people's chagrin. Is now Faker in a bit of trouble, speaking of which. Keen running with scissors, we know that's dangerous. And he is going to have to go back. The minions should crash.
Yeah, I don't know if he has to TP here, but it's not ideal.
He is Talia, so he does run a bit faster.
I think he... Let's see what he decides to do. He really doesn't want to TP. I think he just barely gets back and loses like a little bit, but not so much here.
Clear the area, guys.
So that could have been a disaster. Doesn't have to flash ultimately, but is going to put him significantly behind in this lane.
Yep. He'll miss out on experience from one minion, which can actually be annoying.
The thing is, if he TPs and then Chovy just procs electrocute twice, then he's like in an even worse spot, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. As Keen dashes out of the way of the counter-striking Jax. And we are just going to see these two top laners hit each other a bunch of times and try to hit CS at the same time, is basically how this one's going to look. See how Kane is able to navigate it, especially with Gwen in the position that she is now. This used to be a matchup that we saw quite often when Gwen was a whole lot stronger than she is now. So it could be more difficult for Keen to navigate as Doran hits that level 2. Leap strikes in. Stun does go down, but he gets into the brush in time.
Nice, Doran.
Might be all right.
Nice.
Doran, other leap strike. Man, Doran is really putting the hurt onto Keen here in this early laning phase.
You know, there are some days where you're like, Doran is feeling himself. He's in complete control of the lane. It's not the day where you're like, I'm not sure if Doran is crazy or a genius. It feels like today he is calculated, Doran. He's completely locked in. As this has been pretty favorable for Talia.
And it's only Showmaker that can win this matchup, as it turns out.
Yeah.
Interesting. Because we have seen this
little Rise group stat.
Yeah, we have seen this attempted so many times, though, be it the Rise group or the Legend group. This is what a whole lot of players feel is a playable matchup, is the Ahri into the Talia. But we haven't really seen too much of that proven. As Keen down to 200 health here, Doran shoving this wave forward.
Shouldn't matter too much since it's very
Penalty 1 game 3. I don't know.
at this point. I mean, Doran
I still
Cannot predict. A lot of damage there with that Empower. And only needs a little bit more. As the circle comes down, the answering flash is good. Doran didn't pick up the turret aggro.
Karena kayak game 1 tadi juga leading terus T1 lane menang juga maka kalah momentum di late game.
For Doran, and does have to flash, so his advantage kind of washed away there off of that play. And if Canyon flashes and stuns him there, if he's a little bit faster to rotate over, then could have really backfired, but he does get away with his life.
Yep, GenG get the information that there is a monkey in the area, but we can see that the monkey did go home. Still, fair bit of pressure here on this bottom lane as the Karma Sivir doing exactly what we expect, and that is shoving wave after wave into this Xayah Nico. Really nullifying the Nico's early power as Seismic Shove going to be able to find Chovy here. Faker being able to bounce back relatively well, even though he is still behind by a little bit.
Canyon gonna come down here to the
Ya,
bottom
game
lane.
1 Doran keculik mulu. Selalu target pertama.
Pressure does continue as
But Doran playing a great job di game 1. Cuma problemnya emang di edisi Corki yang nggak bisa dapat CC, dan di game 1 emang GenG CC apa crowd controlnya emang banyak banget. Isinya itu 155-nya crowd control nggak salah.
I think knows that there is something
Ngapain nih monyet?
happening here. As he's just, can't even get the cannon. And Doran very happily picking up all of this farm. Really nicely played as Keen is able to move down, clears out this control ward, and realizes now that he can move a little bit further up. Does have a level advantage, which is kind of crazy, as Chovy walks over some rocks once again. Faker throwing a whole bunch of them around here in this lane. Nice charm will connect. Orb of Deception there as well for some extra damage, but you can see Faker is feeling fine.
Duro hanging out up here, but I don't think there's really anything he can do unless Doran makes a mistake. As we are going to see the backs to come through.
Yep.
And you see Ruler is heading back down to the bottom lane. And so it's just going to be a complete reset here. And Duro as a minion will return to the bottom lane as well. And Faker laning here pretty well, despite the early level 1 shenanigans where he was forced to back. Didn't really end up falling too far behind. And it's a quiet early game here. You know, we had the attempt from Doran there that did not work. The lack of flash hasn't been punished yet. Put the wave in a really good spot, so ended up really denying some farm there from Keen again.
Yep, Duro dodging a Q unfortunately as the tether is still going to land. Carrier taking a bit from the Blooming Burst, but you can see Ruler looking a little worse for wear himself. And this ricochet damage in these fights is going to be really, really important to look out for. If you're a GenG fan, killing Gumayushi is going to be really hard because he's got a lot of tools around him to peel, but also like because everyone's so short range, the ricochet value is just going to be immense.
He's just always going to be doing oodles of damage when we get to the late games. Canyon not quite going to be able to steal this one away.
Yeah, he's charged up a spear, so looking a little bit scary, but Shape Splitter gives information that there is an owner and a carrier in the area. Looks like Canyon not going to go for anything as no neutrals have been started up just yet. They have the grubs in about a minute, but the dragon has been somewhat ignored for now.
This top side is just continuing to be an issue for Keen. Like the deficit, it's not massive, but it gets like it's a little bit bigger every wave. It feels like here, as Doran is now having this wave pushing over. Faker does have his ult, and they could look for a play. Keen potentially caught.
Nice! Faker! Oh my god!
Pushes him back. No flash available, and there's first blood going over to Doran's Jax.
And a great play from Faker there. And even with the global Pantheon, Canyon's just too far away. The observers instantly pan to the Pantheon that's on the wrong side of the map to assist Keen. And that's just a great call there from Faker. Comes over and sets up the play there with Doran. No summoners needed to get that pick.
Don't push Bitborn.
Was flashless from that earlier exchange. Big win for T1 in this early game. Starting to get this Jax online. We'll watch it again. Look at the rotation over from Faker here. And the Weaver's Wall is not going to cut him off. The Counter-Strike certainly will. There's just nowhere to go. The rocks are down. The shove is good. Kill goes to the Jax. Has been putting on that pressure all game long.
Man, got pretty close to having the dash back off cooldown again, but just unable to make that one work. And so the Gwen was not immune, and that means that Doran is just going to be so scary. Canyon started off these grubs. As Owner comes on in to try and grab this control ward, will be able to do so. The grubs are going to lose interest relatively soon, and there they go. As Keen does pick up this wave here in this mid lane, avoids the boomerang blade here from Gumayushi as Duro.
No level 6.
Level 5, yeah.
If he has 6, this is a very different situation. Still, Keen is already hitting a little bit.
Yeah, this the snips when they get charged up, a little bit frightening.
Faker doesn't have his ult to cut anybody off since he used it for that play on the top side, but I still think T1 have a really strong core here as long as they don't get themselves caught in this choke, because Owner has flash and ult.
Run.
Almost anybody.
In a little bit of trouble.
Run.
He does have Featherstorm, but does not want to use it in the 1v1 against Doran.
Has flash and his ult's back up. Like, that was very scary.
Yeah.
Pas
Now you've got Ruler having to go back home. Doran actually might be able to get a fair bit of work done towards his turret. As Ruler, of course, using his own skin. Very cute there. Didn't mention mentioned that earlier on, but of course got that one in 2017.
That should be Dragon in exchange here for T1. You have to think his owner is clearing his jungle on his way over to that full control they have on the bottom side. TP is going to come through from Keen, who was holding the mid wave here, but so many plates have to over, and they get the Dragon. Denying the grubs for the Jax is a big win, and also if Keen gets some time to hit turrets, which he should later on, this is going to be a big win for GenG, but in the immediate game state, definitely feels like a trade up for T1 and take a small 500 gold lead here at 9.5 minutes, plus the Dragon.
Yep, not too bad at all. Seismic Shove going to connect onto Chovy once again as well. Pressed his arm, but is a little bit frustrated about taking a bit of extra damage. So it is going to be 3 grubs traded for 1 Dragon, but also Jax with a lot of spare time and almost 400 gold lead here as well. But it is a CS lead that's actually been put together by Keen with that extra time that he picked up. The mid lane as well, good lane management by GenG to make sure that that one happens. But who paid the price was Ruler. Who's down 20 CS in comparison to Gumayushi, who's just been running the wave, running the lane alongside Carrier.
It's not going to be fun to catch waves into Sivir for the mid game, which we're heading to here very shortly. But still going to be a threat later on. Is down an item right now. Purchase one. Not quite able to get that minion, fortunately for him. The game is still a quiet one. It's still quite the calm early game here with some big leads on both sides, right? The grubs significant. Chovy gets shoved again.
Yeah, just kind of collecting those.
Nggak lihat carrier dia. Nggak lihat carrier dia. Nggak lihat carrier dia.
Cannon. Yeah, not actually going to happen. The Rock just barely out of range, and the Mantra Q not quite going to work out there as well.
That was a really cool idea there from Carrier. He's like, I'm definitely not going to be able to see this guy. He's got flash, but trying to look for enough poke damage there from Faker to look for the burst. Almost enough there to catch Chovy, but he does get away.
Yeah, it wasn't quite enough in the end.
Not really too much of a punish attempt here from GenG on the bottom side of the map. Canyon's coming over now. Doran has flash and though.
Feels like Keen is just getting scarier and scarier in this game, despite that first blood going over to Doran.
Isn't that just the story of Keen?
It is
Go blue, go blue,
He's having a little bit of a tough time, you know, the matchup's a little bit volatile, but then later on you're like, man,
I'm starting to get like, I'm getting conditioned
No.
by you
I think it's
saying
clear.
that
I think
Keen's
it's
having a tough time.
Go
For
back,
that to mean, oh, so Keen's going to hard carry in the late game. Oh, that's how that one's going to work. Because you didn't say that in game 2.
Yeah.
And that was the game things didn't go well for GenG. And Keen being on a damage deal, going to be the biggest of deals.
He did have like a gold lead on the side actually last game.
Yes,
as well.
he did.
Yeah, he is quite scary. And we mentioned it in the game 1 with the Camille, his Gwen specifically. Like sometimes he falls behind, does not matter. See how much further he'll fall behind though with Owner showing up here with Carrier.
Yeah.
You have Duro in waiting.
Yeah, he is going to be able to spot that there is a monkey in the area. Doran is taking a bit of damage, though, as he does get himself out, but that is plates guaranteed.
Plate gank.
There we go. And those are lucrative. Absolutely. Still Keen is able to pick up all of these minions.
It's so
no
cool.
worries there at all.
It's so cool how much agency you have though as T1 in this draft. Like when you have the Sivir pushing in mid lane, you know, as GenG, you're like, do we want to force something here? It's like probably not.
Wait, let me flash.
It's going to be a faster rotation over of Guma in this case. If they did commit to it earlier, he would have been faster on the play. Now they're still like trying to make something happen, but it's Jax who has a Karma with him. You know that Owner's in the area with his ultimate, so hard to actually make anything of this. So still sit on that 400 gold lead, and I think GenG really want to be ahead in this game quite significantly at this stage, and they're not.
Yeah, nice little charm is going to connect on the Faker here, but he's throwing a whole lot of rocks around. Actually flashes to get out of the way of this Grand Starfall from Canyon, and they look for the dive. There's the flash stun, and they lock down the kill. Still, Canyon is going to be taken out, so a 1-for-1 from the GOAT outside of the top outer turret.
The hashtag just Faker things on that one. Flashes instantly when he sees the ult, gets into turret range before Canyon can lock him down in a safe location for that to be a trade. Has his rock as he dies, and the death rattle comes through as the turret takes Canyon out. So a heavy commitment here by the jungler, who has to flash as well, still gets taken out. The reaction from Faker here is so instant, by the way. It's actually kind of absurd. But because he trades here with Chovy, he is in kill range. Pantheon finally decides it's time to come up here and make the play. Did you just actually see it? Did he flash before he even saw that?
It's kind of insane.
Like, I think
I barely saw anything.
I think he actually flashed before it even came through. He was like, nah, I see the angle. Oh, actually, maybe he was on the ward. I think actually maybe Cannon was on that ward when he started channeling the
it could have been something like that.
Yeah,
but even noticing that is kind of absurd. Regardless, still going to be able to get Faker the 1-for-1 trade. It does mean that Faker is off the map and isn't able to pick up that top outer turret. Wave that did crash into the turret, so still going to be working out relatively well for GenG.
Still worth for them. Just very impressive from Faker.
Yep. Always good to appreciate.
Nice.
As Canyon is going to face check and isn't feeling fantastic about it. On the hunt is Gumayushi. His ruler going to rotate over, but it's mainly just to watch this Pantheon die. And so Canyon's woes continuing here in this early stage of this game. I guess moving towards the mid-game here now.
These wards, this setup here, like assuming the ward was the reason why Faker was able to react that quickly with so high value, then they spot him and take him out again. As now Faker's looking for a Weaver's Wall.
Yep, Ruler might need to ult here as the Seismic Shove is going to pick him up. Let's see whether the Pop Blossom is going to come on through. There it is. Duro going to have to flash out of the way though. The rocks go wide. But still, that is double ultis on cooldown.
Plus
as well as a flash for this Nico.
Even a heal. Keen is going to try to get some value here in the side lane with 3 grubs on this Gwen. Will be answered by a teleport. He got some damage done. He wasn't able to get the significant punch back they were looking for.
As Doran just getting zoned away here momentarily. Needlework comes out as Faker throws an entire volley at Keen. Does have to flash, as he didn't quite have his circle back available yet again. So more summoner spells being picked up by this Talia. Faker is really feeling himself here today.
You know, he didn't make the error in game 1. I think we have to acknowledge that, but otherwise he's a man possessed today.
Yeah. And Doran going to look for a little bit of an angle here. Gets the ulti out of Chovy. Actually a big deal, as he's not going to be resetting in any fights coming on up. As Double Dragon being considered here by T1. A little bit close to an Earth, Wind and Fire. Thankfully we do have an angle for it, as it's another Ocean Soul, second in a row. And that's Feats of Strength locked in for T1 as well, as all 3 games, early game has belonged to them. As Doran going to get stunned up, does flash away, but it looks like it's going to be this turret going on over to GenG.
There's 2 turrets under threat here for GenG at the same time. We won't see Faker commit for this one, but the Herald dropped in mid with this wave here. It should just be a trade of turrets. Doran does lose his flash, but it's not really a trade up for GenG, and the game state for them is not where they want it to be.
Oh dear.
And this is going to be a collapse for sure.
Yeah, there's a Rift Herald on her way down here, as Faker is going to try and shove Keen. It doesn't quite work out here, as the Rift Herald is just going to bypass.
Anjing cakep banget.
Riwan push.
On her.
Once again taking control here in game 3.
Yeah, I cannot stress enough like how much power you have.
Can you drop? Can you drop bomb?
With this composition for T1, but when you have a Herald on top of it, you're just taking turrets in both lanes. There's no safe place for Keen.
Like, dropping bomb,
Oh, it's a Wukong coming down to gank me and kill my turret. There's no place that's safe. He has his ultimate available, takes Keen out, and again, Faker is just making these aggressive plays. And there's always a follow-up. There's always more than just what meets the eye when you have Faker in a side lane. Gotta be considerate of what could happen with that Rift Herald. Keen, but does get caught nonetheless.
Yep. And sometimes you just don't expect a Rift Herald to come down and destroy your turret when there is no minion wave. So a little bit unfortunate there for Keen, but still was overextended and did see Owner get back into that Rift Herald. So it's likely that he was heading somewhere down, as he's looking to
Chovy, Warner. Oke.
Warner. We'll see whether that actually matters.
Ada yang datang.
Charm is going to miss, and Chovy has to eat so many rocks and has to flash, as now the turnaround potentially coming in here, as Keen looking for the angle, wanting revenge onto this Talia. As the needlework comes out, Chovy finds the charm, as Gumayushi finds himself so far away from the rest of his team, but maybe that's part of the play, as they go 2 for 1. I guess the backline ganking Sivir kind of worked out.
No, absolutely worked out in the end. I think he's priced into it, is going to go for the play regardless. And even though Ruler's still alive and he's an AD carry, there's just no way for, with these low health bars, GenG to continue the play. T1 back away, knowing that without their main source of damage, they're not going to be able to do anything else there. They don't leave GenG the opportunity to try to get anything else back there. And Guma's sacrifice does work out in this case. And it's just, look at the vision for T1. Like, they can see how far away the Pantheon is. They know that the Xayah is behind the play in mid because he's laying it to Sivir. You know, like, they have so much bio, they have so much vision, they can just go, Chovy's past the river. It's not allowed. We're gonna go kill him. This teleport here from Keen buys some time. And look at where Gume is. He's on the left side of this fight. He has a spell shield here. Decides to flash for the kill because he's probably not gonna get out either way. So he guarantees that kill, plus a ton of extra damage as his teammates retreat.
And it was actually, it confused the heck out of Canyon as well, because he wanted to join Keen and actually fight the front line, but then there was a Sivir in his back line, like doing crazy stuff. So it meant that he was happy feeding through a lot of that team fight, and I kind of don't blame him, because I would have also been a little bit confused.
It was bizarre, but I think it was definitely a great call from T1, as Canyon maybe caught again. He's rooted.
Yeah. See if he can get himself out of this one, as the Cyclone does come in there from Ono, looks for the angle, but Canyon is
You guys can go B slowly. I will distract them in A.
Position as Faker is teleported in, trying to get these feathers down.
All of you, go B. Slow, but slow, okay? You can smoke mid, guys.
We're getting a bit antsy, I could imagine, on this rift right now. 2,000 gold, not the be-all and end-all, and it looks like GenG with a decent angle on this lane. And it's just a wall that comes down, so no Talia's to need to get off it this time around.
Nope, just gonna try to stop that push, and we'll reset here as GenG had a lot of control. With the timing of this reset from Doran, he may have to TP in. If we see GenG look for the Otacon startup, Keen does a ton of damage, even just on one item here. The Gwen is just going to help rush this down, so T1 have to be quick on the rotation.
Go.
We'll have to TP in very quickly here. There it is, the top side.
Yep, Ona's going to be moving in. I mean, T1 have full information as to what's going on here, and Keen's already down to 50% health. Ruler trying to get some damage down. GenG is going to be looking for the turn as Ona moves on over, and now Chovy looking for the angle. Pop Blossom connects, finds only one as Faker flashes his way out. Doran avoids all of the so beautifully, and it's the Nico that goes down first. The Wukong steals away the Otacon, of course.
Di maling. Terus mau ngapain?
Anjing, dapat nih.
Dapat, ada bak-batakan, mereka mau ngapain?
The Otacon goes to T1.
The Otacon goes to T1. Canyon was on the left side of that fight, and it was a Gwen versus a Wukong there in the Otacon exchange. So advantage jungler in that case, and GenG here kind of tried to
I will care banana.
look at Chovy. He thinks he has the angle here. With the Nico follow-up, the stun comes through, Faker flashes away, the charm here onto Owner, and then look at where Canyon is. He's not in smite range. So it just goes over to the Wukong here. Keen trying his best to do something, maybe steal it away. Does end up getting the kill as well as he goes down. And Canyon gets the snipe, but he will cost him big with Faker and Doran here. Canyon has to walk up to avoid Faker's rotation of spells.
Yeah, just finds one of the rocks on the side there, but kind of did jump right into it. A little bit unfortunate, but still great play from T1, really showing the value of Talia in these team fights.
This looks like what the Legend Group games all looked like for so much of rounds 3 to 5, where if you get a small lead, you just take over the game. Gold lead-wise, not that huge here, but when you look at the fights and how T1 have been so dominant, how clean they've been looking in side lanes, the fact that the Sivir is going to scale, it's really horrific if you're a GenG fan right now. They've been trading a little bit here in sides, and it looks like they want to try to pressure this inner turret here, but T1, 3 objectives to 0 here in terms of dragons as well.
Udah datang aja tuh Faker.
Yeah, Chovy, speaking of ulting in, is just going to
pakai ulti ini bercabut.
Kind of crazy.
Cabut dari base.
Towards his bottom side, it will be the teleport from Keen to try and stop him from just bonking down this inner turret.
And I think we need to contextualize a little bit here that
Careful mid.
This is a GenG that just lost it since LCK Cup, lost its first best of 5 to KT. But otherwise an extremely dominant team, beaten only once by T1 in the regular season, but otherwise a practically perfect year from this squad. No one was able to stop them. No one was able to take them down. And now T1, you know, it's a 1-1 series. The game's not over by any means. It's only 1,000 gold to lead. But the way we're watching this game play out, the jungle difference that we're really feeling here across these games, starting to make you feel, I think, a little bit worried if you're a GenG fan. And GenG fans haven't had to worry much this year, right? It's been constant winning, constant success. You lose to KT, but
okay, who's playing B?
Things.
Someone playing B?
But now T1 in a commanding position in this game.
Yeah, they certainly are. They have
I
all
will
basically
play
gone
I will play
very long
Yeah,
ways now.
yeah.
Trophy looking for a bit of an angle.
Kalau Rumble beda cerita. Betul.
He's running pretty quickly, so not going to get chommed up this time around. Chovy just realizing that he does have a fair bit of ability haste here at level 16, so he should have that ulti back up relatively quickly.
And Keen is 1 and 4. Well, that's where he's at his most dangerous.
Yeah, I think it's like Nonton all over again.
Yeah, he's got a Nashor's Tooth, and he's going to use it, and we'll let the minions do most of the work here on this turret. Although, with Canyon here, I think he should just
Go back.
Yep, there is the outer turret.
Don't stay in that place.
So that
Go
is
back.
going to mean that the gold lead is
Guys.
under 1,000. The problem is there are
Yellow.
a lot of intangibles, right? There is
Go back.
feats of strength already there for T1. There's Otacon for T1. They have Soul Point put together. Everything on the Rift that isn't money is theirs.
And everything that we've seen in terms of team fights, the coordination, the cohesion, the side lane pressure that's been applied has been better for T1 as well. GenG have done such a great job of playing the macro and trading turrets that the game looks incredibly even. But what I'm more worried about is how these compositions collide later on. Without now there's so many threats that are online to get on top of this Xayah, who's your main win con here. Chovy is massive, by the way. Like, he's about to get death
Go
capped.
back, guys. Come on, don't
And he's
push.
going to have to hit his charms, right? Wasn't able to hit the charm on the prio target on his flank on that Otacon play. That was the whole game plan was him hitting that prio target. It did not happen. So we'll see what he can get done. He's level 16 now.
Yep. I think as well, this time Ruler now has an Infinity Edge that he just completes. Thank you, Jonah Strong, for a bit of a zoom in. And he's not Jin. I think that that's really important.
No.
I don't think, you know, I'm sort of back to not liking Jin very much.
Yeah, and that last comp, I really...
Yeah, it's just not a whole lot of damage. Xayah can do a whole lot of damage. Even though T1 do have a lot of tools to make her life hard, if she is left unattended, can be a very difficult champion to mitigate.
If T1 botch the engage and you're going down an item as the 80 carry into the Feathers from Meat Grinder, you're in trouble. Chovy may be in trouble.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
I will play
Faker here and does have to flash.
The placement of the rocks and the shoves have been so good for Faker.
Yeah, and every time Chovy's in a side lane, he just gets ulted on by Faker.
Yeah, and like he has to flash. If you put the rocks on top of the Ahri first, then force, like, she has to react, and then you put the shove behind it. She can't dash because she's on the rocks, so she has to flash. And he's done it so many times now. And so, I mean, it's really Chovy's only option with the placement there and the angle of the Weaver's Wall from Faker. Level 16 himself. Now on the Rift, as 50 seconds until this Ocean Soul will spawn. Well, potentially Ocean Soul, of course.
We may actually see a team fight once again between these two squads.
Can someone give me? Can someone give me?
Feels like that Otacon fight that did go T1's way. Owner on such a good team fighting champion here as well. He has been in such good form today.
Ruler and Keen have to do so much heavy lifting in this fight. Keen does have that arm guard he was able to buy. Will really help him out. Same can be said of Doran, of course, but that Gwen damage is going to be massive if you can get just a little bit of time.
Chovy off on a flank angle. Does get the Warrior Trickster out of Owner, but it's not a massive cooldown. Seismic Shove going to go wide this time. Canyon able to walk that one off. GenG with control of the river for the moment as Doran gets charmed up. But there's the Cyclone. Into the backline goes Owner, but he's kind of alone and hasn't really used his ultimate for much. Does flash to get himself to safety. As in goes Doran now. He will go golden, but this is so disjointed, and Keen is going to get on top of Gumayushi. Goes golden himself, buys so much space, but where's the follow-up? Keen just runs and will get shoved back towards Faker and takes a huge rock. That is going to be the dragon secured with the feather pullback. And now I think Doran may eventually die, although no, he doesn't. He has leap strike, so he's just fine. Keen for Dragon is the trade for now.
Keen's sacrifice means that Ocean Soul doesn't go over to T1, but that's the end of the good news because T1 are full health. I mean, mostly full health here, at least. Doran has TP, so they're just going to come right over here to control, force a reaction out of
Halo, Jan.
Belanja. Clear this wave. There's not a whole lot of vision here for GenG, so T1 should be able to get these backs away for free. And the fight's a little bit split up here.
Kus.
Owner practically loses his patience.
Apa panggil lo? Kus.
That last charm, he's like, I'm gonna get on top.
Ton.
That's actually really significant. I think if Owner
Lu,
is really in the thick of this
kemarin lu beli Ice Cold-nya berapa, Ton?
Ice Cold apa ya? 150. Pas lagi turun-turunnya itu.
Itu minimal wear apa, Pan?
Battle Scar.
Green, Blazers.
Slide bagus nggak? Hah? Slide bagus nggak?
Slide bagus, hitam kan, full hitam kan?
Iya.
Bagus.
Mendingan gue beli slide murni apa yang udah ada stikernya.
Murni sih. Habis itu lu stikerin sendiri.
Still something that T1 need to respect and figure out a way to deal with. Right now, there is now 3 items onto Gumiyushi. He has hit that break point. These ricochets are going to absolutely tear through.
Faker udah ada ulti. Semua udah ada ulti.
Baron. If Owner hadn't had to flash in that last team fight, they might actually consider starting this, but said they're just going to keep playing around vision, keep getting these free backs and forcing GenG to come over and clear vision.
Lu lagi main apaan, Kus?
Keen is going to get some alone time in the side lane right now and does have teleport,
Solo.
so I think GenG are feeling pretty okay with this situation since they can now go over and clear this vision.
No, you said bomb it in A, what the fuck?
16, a huge threat in this game. Even though he's 1 and 5, make no mistake, this Gwen is
Tell me if they
rotate. Has so much staying power because of her mist.
Yeah, it's actually like, I don't know, it is just Gwen things, but it's also Keen things, so it's kind of compounded. You know, it's just a very scary 1-5 champion. We just don't see that all that often. Is Chovy going to get attacked by Baron here momentarily? Also does do what he wanted. He's at 305 CS here at 30 minutes into the game. Not too bad. It's still sitting on the same 3 items that he was on a little while ago.
Gue 2 kali main solo seri anjing, what the fuck is this game dude?
Tunggu gua.
Min 59. Google 32 coy, pakai topik yang sana.
Tunggu gua sambil mau beli AK dulu. Gatal-gatalan gua.
Belilah AK berapa?
Iya.
Sama siapa? Kontrol 1.
Anjing. Dulu main apa anda?
Immediately just ult over the wall on top of him. But maybe that's just the way.
It's a free ult though. I mean that's massive. Yeah, no, it just shuts it down. He's like, nice try. And Keen continues to kind of push a wave into the turret, but then leave.
Super happy.
Lado ya?
Badi.
Has his completed 3rd item. He is backing right now. See if he has the money for it. Would really love to have that extra safety.
My mouse is not mousing anymore. What the fuck?
Very expensive item.
Tandanya beli Logitech. Apa sih? G Pro nggak sih?
Yeah, it does have it. Okay, so it was just like maybe like 50 gold off, so spinning around and
sudah berapa? Total kita 38. Oke.
Udah lah, pemanasan bentar lah.
Gak usah pemanasan, Din. Gue gak pemanasan tuh. Apa itu?
Apa itu pemanasan?
Sampai spinning gak lu?
Telepon uncle gak sih?
Ini
udah tadi kirim
berapa menit
foto perempuan
not doing something ini. Tim fight canggung.
Put my balls in your jaw, in your jaw. Can I?
Forever blowing bubbles.
Pressure, but not a whole lot of really big team fights, but this is going to be one of them.
Yeah, Ruler with 4 items complete as well, like that Bloodthirster on top of everything. He is very, very frightening and can now play a whole lot more aggressively with that extra shield, with the extra lifesteal. But that Chovy has to go golden at the beginning of this fight as now Doran looking.
Dapat Doran anjing. Nice ult Nico. Anjing Warner, dapat Warner tuh.
Tadi gue lihat ini yang apa? Slate yang minimalware. Tapi dia udah kayak di craft gitu, Cok.
Lu mau bikin craft yang gimana emang, Jan?
Gue nggak tahu kalau nge-craft slate. Serius?
Anjing udah. Jiji.
Mau ngapain?
Jiji.
Owner masuk langsung di shop.
Bisa. Jiji. Anjing T1 moment. Bangsat. Ya.
baru mulai udah emas aja mas.
Tapi panik pak itu pak anjing.
Jangan panik kalau nggak emas mati ya.
Iya kalau emas panik juga.
Langsung mati ya. Mau gimana lagi? Mau ngapain lagi dia kalau dia tidak pakai zonanya?
And it starts to feel like we might have an upset on our hands here with T1 looking like they are the stronger team here.
26.000.
Entire game.
And the thing is, I think if you base it off what we saw in the
Viego Nonton, kelihatannya Viego bakal di-pick.
I don't think it's an upset at all. But we weren't expecting GenG.
Viego bakal di-pick, Silas bakal di-pick.
We thought it was a fluke. Yeah, we were all wrong.
And in game number 1, they also weren't
Kita
ahead
bakal
for
lihat
very much of it.
hacker
They could be
kali.
like this feels like we're at 3-0
Faker itu yang
territory.
pemain noob itu kan?
GenG really needed to get
Pemain
back
apa?
on the horse in
Noob
this
itu kan?
one. It is time
Iya
for us
noob
to
banget
take
bang.
a short break. When we get back, the stakes are gonna
Anjing
break down
ketahan.
like game number
Kenapa
3.
pada pakai kartu kredit dah? Beli babi. Ya jadi belilah gue berarti.
Lo pakai kartu ini bisa sebenarnya, Mastercard debit itu.
Kalau kredit ketahan dia e-walletnya.
Oh.
Yang ketahan 2 hari tuh nggak langsung cash.
Mana highlight tadi langsung emas itu. Mana highlight tadi tuh. I don't see. Hui itu bukan metanya LCK, jarang dipakai sih di LCK. GG.
Invite Kus. Udah
Game.
selesai pembunuhan. And
sudah
watch the bill.
Udah fix menang itu Ton.
Udah fix menang ini.
Gue
Gue cuma mau nonton ini sampai pick, habis itu main league ini. Ini udah dipegang T1.
T1 udah fix menang tuh.
Fix aja.
Lesin belum dipick.
Cancel dulu Kus.
Cancel. Udah enak anjing.
Iya.
Map 1 loh buang korki.
Buang korki doang anjing.
Buat buang korki anjing. Soalnya ngapain nge-ban korki itu tanggung kan. Ya udahlah kita pakai aja.
Oke. Udah. Jam segini udah ngantuk.
Dia tahu.
Ya kau dong.
Timnya nggak bakal nge-ban korki, musuh juga nggak bakal nge-ban korki. Ya udah kita pakai aja korkinya. Pengen buang korki aja. Lucu lagi.
Gue dapet nih dok betanya ini, CLassico, daftar gue. Asik.
Nah, aku nggak main game fighting. Zayan.
Oh, Waone ya? Siapa temen lu? Wawan.
Waone, iya main kemarin. Stream kemarin deh.
Iya, Cup. Oh ini ya, Asia Invitational.
Zayan tuh main gitu. Game baku tumbuh tuh Zayan tuh.
Iya, gue sekarang lagi main domain opening.
Cup.
Dan pembaku tumbuh.
Korea Esport Cup is coming.
Domain opening. Wah, ini seru anjing.
Domain
Sumpah.
opening.
Iya, domain opening. Opening. Ah, sebutannya gimana sih? Do.
Awakening.
Oh ini
Awakening.
gamenya ini
Oh,
Jujutsu
Awakening.
ya?
Iya.
Gue baru
Lu masuk aja sini server.
Gue baru main maraton kemarin. Main maraton, nonton ininya maraton animenya 2 hari. Yorick belum di-pick, Kasante belum di-pick, Renekton belum di-pick. Renekton katanya nggak bakal dimainin. Sepertinya. Kasante Yorick masih, cuma Yorick tuh gak ada guna buat tim fight. Bukan begitu Aldo?
Betul.
Ya.
Iya, setuju.
Ya. Tuh bahkan orang yang nggak main LoL mainnya cuma CS aja setuju. Yorick kelihatannya gak bakal di-pick.
Iya, Yorick Asu.
Yorick Asu.
Yorick cuma buat ini doang cuy.
Split push.
Mending pilih yang itu, yang ulet-ulet bulu tuh, yang bisa nembak-nembak.
Ulet-ulet bulu.
MM.
Pelkos.
Hero-nya OG.
Hero OG.
Nggak tahu, pokoknya dia mirip kepompong apa ulet gitu. Bisa nembak-nembak dia.
Please plus 200 please 200 plus 200 4.000 lagi gak masalah gua tuh turun naik turun tebut capek gua.
Ini apaan? Tempat wisata.
Dapet jadi
Top his Spotify. Ku ingin jadi teman nyamanmu.
Kalau Red Bull boleh juga nih.
Bersiar bertawa gandeng tangan.
Halo.
Halo.
Oke, it's game 3 motherfucker.
Ini lagi main.
Mas main?
Udah main?
Maksudnya masih main habis ini?
Ya, gue ikut Markus.
Ketika kau tak sanggup melangkah, hilang belum takut.
Info kan slot.
Pan komuk anjing, kena bom babi. Bom di B tuh. Bom di B tuh.
If GenG lose this one, they are
Itu Roberto Carlos kan BP-nya Om.
If GenG loses this one, they will be the first seed not to make it to the top 3.
Hilang arah dalam pendiri.
Ya gue gak ngapa-ngapain. Jangan rusakin face.
2 series losses in the
Bagai jalan sang surya, hilang arah dalam penderitaan.
Obviously, we're going to talk a lot about T1 because T1 have clearly been improving so much throughout this playoffs. We saw a really good example of
Ya Allah, minggu depan draft case ya Allah satu
the fact that looking at the draft for GenG, I
doa
think
istri
that this draft
semoknya di cancel
obviously
dulu
has its
draft case dulu.
issues, but to me the draft issues
Istri semok anjing.
kind of fall by the wayside because the players are mid jungle. Canyon and Chovy are still not playing the way that I think we were expecting. We're not even seeing them. And they had some off games during the regular season. They're not even at that level. Like, I've seen Chovy go for 1 million of those wall charms. He didn't hit a single one in this game. Pantheon had no impact. We've seen Owner get, what was it, like 15, 16, 25 kills on Pantheon? And he didn't ult aggressively early on once.
I mean, I think that's basically like there. You can see it from the bans as well.
Wah, dia di situ anjing.
For their support, like Bard and Rakan ban into Nico first pick, but they ending up losing bot lane is like so. Like it hurts so much because I feel like if you aim support in the bans, like that means you have to win something on the bot lane, but you couldn't actually win the priority or win the laning phase. And I think after
minimal
that,
beli
Arya
deh,
and
anjing pakai
Pantheon
tag 9
couldn't
mulu
see the
dah.
window for the roams or anything.
This
So
gun is
I
good,
feel like
you know?
Chovy winning the laning phase is great, but if you cannot do anything on the side lane or like playmaking, then like what's the point of winning the priority, winning the laning phase? So I feel like I was like waiting for Vega pick from Chovy.
Yeah.
You know? Definitely.
And I think the Vega pick would have given us a lot more faith. I think Xayah into Jax Wukong specifically is also one of those setups where I'm like, I get that you have an ult and it feels good in theory, but
No, they're
those picks,
saving
I think,
those
for some of the melee picks
fake-
actually
that
do so
Vega
onto
pick
Xayah
for
because
later.
once they get on top of you, if you come out of your ult, you're still screwed. Again, though, going to the level of play, the Ahri didn't convince us in the draft, but it's again the fact that there just isn't the impact. And I think that Chovy not doing anything is very outdated as a narrative. We've seen him do stuff all year. He has been the biggest contributor. He was the MVP of the regular season.
But the thing is, we already figured it out. Ahri is not good champion on the mid lane now. Like we already know that Ahri is not working out, Kiana is not working out, but GenG is still trying stuff when they have no lives left.
I mean, it's got to be the Pantheon for me. The Pantheon has to make an impact, especially if you're going to pick that Ahri to be playmaker. Here, Otacon gets started on up, and lots of different things to focus on because it was a split fight and could have gone way worse for GenG.
And this is, I think,
Mungkin minggu depan
jika
tidak
minggu depan. But Faker is ready, is able to get out. Chovy and Duro use basically everything.
Ya Allah.
This fight is even close. It's kind of insane. And it's the fact that it's split, so you have Keen doing a lot of damage, and then Canyon and Ruler actually do a lot of heavy lifting on the left side of the fight.
Yeah, I mean, again, we could see the value of the Talia here. Like if they were not with the Talia, I think T1.
Gue lupa nyalain crosshair, pantas crosshair gue kayak nggak kelihatan anjing.
Again, I think this Talia pick impact a lot. They countered like most of the picks.
Last. Abu Pak in banana. Come on.
Their back lines with the Gwen and Ahri. Push. GenG could win it so easily, but again, draft is issue for them.
Because there were a couple of examples where Chovy did try to go for plays, right? In mid, tried to ult in. They just never really amounted to much, and it feels like that in combination with the fact that
Padahal gue udah ngetek 60 anjing.
haven't been that proactive early on.
What the fuck
Canyon.
you
Pantheon
lose,
just isn't
bro?
the champion to do that with.
No, definitely not. And then
Sorry, my bad.
we're waiting for the
Sorry,
play
my
to come.
bad.
Both teams kind of jostling for position in the mid lane, and the play comes from T1 side.
No, it's not
Chovy
okay, it's not
not able to react to this.
It's okay, bro.
And I think it's because he thinks he can walk out with Foxfire, but you just have to flash that straight up. You can ult out of it. Obviously, you get stunned, but at least then you're in a safer position.
Lu mau nge-smoke apa enggak anjing? Jangan buang-buang smoke lo.
And the follow-up from T1 is amazing.
I mean, again, I think even if Chovy doesn't get knocked up here, I still feel like it was T1's game for this one. So I just wanna, again, I wanna talk about the draft. Like you said, like Canyon on Pantheon didn't work out well in the early game, but the thing is, when you have 3 losing lanes, or like in terms of the priority, what can you do in terms of like in the early game? Oh my god, I'm losing one! It's really rough. Again, I think I could see like many tempo that the Chovy were ahead, but he couldn't actually make the plays because like, both sides are losing the priority. So you, even though you have to push on the mid lane, you couldn't do anything. But on Faker's side, Flavor, like, he has a small amount
Bilang aja gorong-gorong anjing.
Bangun.
Mas. To make something work on the bot lane. So it was just so
Lagi
easier.
liatin
Well, there's also the fact that we did see, again, we saw a lot of attempted plays from GenG. None of them just really...
No money.
And,
No money, bro.
tarif cukai rokok 57%. Purbaya, wah tinggi amat. Fir'aun lu.
Mana lagi viral itu lagi pengeluaran anggaran apa pemerintah Kota Tangerang anjing.
Gila. Industri untouchable anjing.
Maybe that's the way back in.
And just you know what Chovy played today? Galio and Ahri. That's not I want.
That's definitely not the type of champions you associate with the man who makes the plays, who's been the heartbeat of GenG. And this squad, if it goes out here, let's rehash this whole year. There were moments where
FPS
we
gua
were
kenapa
saying
turun?
this is the greatest team in the world and one of the greatest teams ever because they went so undefeated, MSI champions, EWC champions. They looked unstoppable. And so far, they've looked listless. This could have very easily been a 3-0 T1, but now GenG backs against the walls for the first time since 2021 in the LCK could possibly lose 2 series in a row. Let's go to game number 4.
Thank you very much, Tigon, and we are straight to the
demo di Filipina.
game number 4.
Mau lihat bisa-bisan
Both
anjing.
of the coaches in the coaches interviews said it was going to be a 3-2.
I wanted to say that I think even though, you know, we mentioned like we thought GenG would bounce back.
Gila,
we thought
coy.
Owner Canyon and Chovy would bounce back.
Penuh.
I still kind of feel like they can. I still want to believe, Atlas, that this can go to 5. I still want to trust this team that's been dominant all year long can get back on the horse here, but there's no evidence yet. You know, game 1, we saw the amazing turnaround. They had the late game win con with Ruler. I think we're going to need to see another draft like that. Something like a Zeri to come through, some sort of scaling pick for Ruler. They could set up a front line.
Easy
for
peasy,
the
lemon
early game is
squeezy.
just not GenG's today.
Nope. I want to see some more cohesiveness in the team fighting drafting as well, and maybe give Canyon something that can scale up in the jungle or something like that instead, because the early game has not been where he's been able to make some impact. What we need to see from GenG is what we saw prior to the playoffs and not what we've seen since. That would be very good. So then we've got a competitive series on our hands, because right now it does look a little
Ton, tahu nggak yang jagain demonya siapa, Ton?
3-0 GenG and are now sticking around for another game. Is what it kind of looks
Antar
like.
mana?
Siapa?
Coast Guard anjing yang turun jagain demo. Aneh banget.
I mean, it's a flex pick.
I wanted to talk about Faker playing really well, but now we've got a
Tapi mereka nggak bawa apa-apa. Pegangan tangan doang.
Coast Guard kan nggak boleh bawa senjata.
One apps.
I don't think we'll be seeing Nar.
Bikin human chain dong.
Yeah, it's a very flexible pick.
Told you
Ngarahin
Silas will be
proses.
pick next game anjing.
So
Apa?
the response
Silas.
is going to be because you don't get counter pick for it because you don't know where it's going. They're just going to go for a safe blind top lane Kasante here. The Keen Sante has always been a staple.
Okay, this is something that we have had faith in the past, but isn't representing a lot of damage just yet for GenG.
Still think that it leads itself towards a scaling 80 carry pick if that's what they want to go for here. I don't think you slam lock the Smolder now, but you certainly are thinking about what that scaling is going to look like. A lot of discussion here on the GenG side. I think very thrown off by this first pick Silas, as we all are.
Like, Silas does make things really difficult.
That's the opposite of what we thought we might see.
Yeah, so that is just Kalista locked in. And now T1 can pick away the Renata if they would like to.
They certainly can. They will.
Yeah.
I mean,
why not?
It's also Renata's really good into Silas, so
Oh
this
shit.
feels like a really good
Oh
response
shit.
here. The question is what comes with it. They don't need to fight fire with fire and
We
go
need
for like
money.
a
We need
Draven
money.
Renata
They
lane or
need
No,
anything
they
like
will
that.
not.
So we have seen teams do that in the past.
Yeah, could be fun.
They could like try to Lucian here, but you're playing into the
Okay.
Asante. This is an old favorite. Gumas, it's not very meta right now, but I think works incredibly well with Renata. Outranges the Kalista.
Gila nggak? Gila nggak? Gila.
Very scary. Let's see what they are going to lock away for Duro. I expect his pick to come in now.
Certainly he's not going to be playing a Pike or anything, you know, like that, right?
Oh, that'd be fun.
I
kind of want them to, like, I want them to go with something that's actually interesting, something that's a bit fun. As Blitzcrank is going to come on through. This is one of his best champions.
I mean, I think what else do you play here?
Kakala.
Like, Leona is banned, Alistair is banned, Nico is banned. Like, you can't, there's not a lot to this Kalista lane. This is, like, to go for this greedy of a bottom 2v2, sure, it can work out, but it's so greedy. There's like way less longevity than a lot of other picks.
Varus tuh
they
bisa
could have
top ya,
gone
Dek?
for in game 4 with their backs against the wall is brave from GenG to say the
Sumpah gue
least.
nggak
but
ngapa-ngapain, nggak
confidence
apa-apa.
in this,
Yang penting
and that's what kind of makes you
mana.
want to believe that maybe it could work, Atlas.
Well, let's see whether it does. I think, like, T1 are probably concerned about some sort of Yone type
Terimalah
situation. I think that
diriku.
having a bit of extra damage out from Chovy is going to be
Tak
important. Canyon
akan
can then play something like a Lilia, do a bit of that magic
Tuhan.
damage himself. Maybe his famous Nidalee comes out to try and get that mojo back. I don't
Kayaknya
know whether
bakal
that's
lebih
necessarily
ke yang
a great pick in this
damage
instance.
dealer instead of Skarner.
T1 is going to be banned away first up against Doran, and it just feels like even in the draft right now, T1 has all the tempo vibes.
Exactly. The Victor is banned. We could even see like an Aurelion Soul ban, as Chovy is not looking comfortable right now because he knows he has to do something in this draft that does consistent late game damage because the Callista can if you're ahead constantly, but you need another win con, you need another consistent threat in this draft. Blitzcrank hooks can instantly win you the game, but that's reliant on control or a mistake from T1. As they're just protecting this top lane pick right now so far, because they don't know where the Silas is going. That's another problem that they can't get solved. So might just be this red side draft is Chovy gets counter pick once they know where the Silas is going.
Well, the Nidalee is going to be taken away here. We're having a look at Canyon. We'll see whether it is going to be a jungle pick locked away. And then we'll find out whether it's going to be Faker playing the Silas or whether that is going over to Ona.
Man, you can see the GenG players are not looking comfortable at this situation. I wonder if there's no way he just pulls out the Lisa in here and says, well, we're going to send it on this draft. Skarner makes a lot more sense, but it is a big ultimate to steal away.
Skarner.
Oh man, Chovy's gonna need so much damage.
It's Aurelion Soul, it's gotta be, right? Like, what else could he play here?
Karthus. I don't know. Something that just does all... If it's a Twisted Fate, we may as well just give T1 the trophy, you know?
Dua-duanya di situ anjing.
What I'm kind of thinking. As it looks like Faker will be playing that Silas in the mid lane. Ooh, never mind. Twisted Fate.
Bit of a pivot here.
Yeah.
Nggak.
Let's see whether
Biarlah
this
saya
one
menjaga
is going
Ark.
to be locked in as owner is grinning
This is my Ark.
as the Rek'Sai consideration is likely to go over to Doran as we saw Zeus playing that one yesterday.
The funny thing is all of these breakthroughs that they've done, all the hovers are all viable. Like there's so many options here for T1. Like they have so many cards they could pull out here in this draft. The Rek'Sai comes through, the strong lane into the Cassante. Saw Zeus play this. It wasn't the most impactful pick, but it has been spammed by every top laner right now around the world.
Wah, dapat satu
Find out
doang
what's coming.
anjing.
Oh, Kassadin.
No, surely not. You don't blind Kassadin. That's insanity. But maybe Chovy picks Kassadin. It has been picked into TF in the past, and he is going to hover it here. Let's see whether it is going to be the decision made.
It suits the Callista part of this draft.
One mid.
But it basically means we're losing the early game in the mid lane, and the top side gets a little bit wonky.
There is not a lot of being able to skirmish against T1 in the early stages of the game. It is a very difficult one. Cassiopeia going to give them a little bit more power earlier on.
I kind of like the Cassiopeia. It's all in on their draft identity of low-range brawly, but when you're looking at the draft here from T1, sure, the Varus has a lot of range, but you can just simply overwhelm with all the front line you have, even if you
Honor Silas.
you know,
Okay, that's new.
or a Silas with the Blitzcrank hook, you have all that low-range damage, you just delete that target so
Doran
quickly, and then you just overwhelm the rest of T1. Because we were looking otherwise.
Fakernya kenapa selalu hero-hero aneh sih?
Gak tahu, Pak.
Kenapa sih dia nggak bisa hero lurus-lurus aja gitu loh?
Ahri.
Tapi ya dia emang cocoknya hero-hero yang
emang hero-hero lawas sih.
Emang cocoknya hero-hero yang utilnya bisa dia pakai secara kreatif.
3-2.
Lucu lagi. Lucu lagi. Tonton, baca ton.
Apa. Di mana? Lu kirim apa?
Enggak, itu tulisan Korea barusan.
Nggak bisa anjing.
Ini dikit lagi main.
Lu plus berapa?
Oh iya.
Udah 14 menit dari 15 menit.
Iya sama istrinya.
Let's go.
Anjing, saya mau cabut tapi ini
Let's go.
Ini terlalu asik untuk dilewatkan anjing ini.
Sekarang bagus kan?
Pakai mobil.
Yang kayak ada chainsaw gitu deh.
Oh iya, pekerjaan konstruksi.
the play-in's best of 5 against the
One second,
LPL 4th seed.
Menang T1 ini kalau perangnya rapi, T1 kan team fight rapi.
Still kind of blows my mind that we
Cuma
have
GenG punya
GenG and
priority
T1
yang
fighting to keep themselves alive here
bagus.
in the LCK playoffs, and one of them will be, it's either the defending world champs or the defending MSI champs are going to be the 4th seed for the LCK.
It
Cuman
is
gua
wild, right? Like,
terasa
you know,
ini
all
picknya
those
imbang
stats
nggak
that,
kayak yang
that
2
Deacon
game
read out
sebelumnya.
on the space.
Yeah.
For the dominance we've seen from GenG, the fact that they've always been
Nyeror
the top team
kidul,
in the
nyeror
LCK
kidul.
for the last
Siapa ya?
several years.
Siapa ya?
And you know they're at the lower bracket early, and now
Manusia
down
dikutuk jadi ular.
match point against them, against T1, who they consistently beat.
Going for a bit of the Hanwha tech
Hanwha
here.
Life, Kalista solo. I thought about this when we saw the Kalista initially, that we could see some sort of weird flex with it.
Ruler main
And
top.
it is going to really
Yeah.
help alleviate
What the fuck?
the lane issues that they have. And also, yeah, if you hit a hook here on either of these targets, this goes really well in the 2v2 here for GenG.
So that they can actually make something happen here. This is, of course, going to really hinge on Ruler having all of the control in this top lane, because Cassante Blitzcrank isn't really a bottom lane. So that is not necessarily going to be winning into double range, especially.
Yeah, if you don't hit hooks, you do literally nothing, but you can just kind of catch the waves and play it as if it's an old
Bang,
school
kamera
lane
pindah bawah, Bang.
with a little bit
Bang.
of a friend hanging out for a little while.
Kamera.
The best
Ini
thing about
kamera
Rek'Sai
ini ya,
is,
kotakannya
you know, like,
itu.
if things do get tough, you can just
Nah.
literally bury your head in the sand.
Yeah.
And
Lebih
hope
banyak
that it
aksi
goes
di bawah.
away. I think that's fantastic.
That's what ostriches do, apparently. Apparently it's not true, by the way, that saying about ostriches. They don't really do that.
Really?
That's what I searched that recently. It was just like a myth or something.
I mean,
I use that like phrase a lot, you know. And
Arno looking for an angle, is going to get the flash out of Chovy. Already a successful gank from the guy that's been all over the rift in the early game. To be expected in this particular matchup, as of course the Skarner isn't going to be doing a whole lot, but just staying true to form right now is Ona.
So, one thing I want to point
Ini
out
udah
in
setengahan ya sama
this,
Faker.
this series, obviously Faker's had a phenomenal performance despite, you know, the game 1 error. As this is Chovy's 65th unique pick in the LCK.
Wow, he hasn't
First
played
match.
Celsius. That's kind of nuts.
Because he's a knower.
Huh. He's played a lot of, like, I don't know. Okay, the hook
Wih,
doesn't connect.
cakep banget
Yeah,
hooknya.
the knockup is going to land. I guess Rek'Sai just a little bit larger of a model than we expected.
Yeah, that was a very weird one there in terms of what we saw on our side, but not going to matter too much. But going back to what I was saying about Faker, he has been so flexible this playoffs. In the past, we were like, oh, they have to ban Victor because Faker's champion pool is so small. But okay, we're never going to talk about it because Doran's once again the target.
Yeah.
Ayo, gua satu pertandingan nyusul.
As Doran is just traveling through all of these tunnels at the same time. Carrier looking a little worse for there as T1 looking to take down King Sante, and that is going to be first blood over to Ona, and he should be out of survive in the meantime.
Ih, Doran anjing.
Doran is just making them look silly. Getting
Anjing.
so
How the fuck?
Another tunnel going to be used. Man, he's like a kid playing on an elevator. And finally, he gets slammed into the wall and taken down, but he's claimed so many flashes and made them look silly.
I'm saving you?
Silly, but ultimately it's still
No,
kill
you're not
there
saving me.
over to
Pagi,
GenG.
pagi.
Kill goes over to the Skarner.
Halo, Lexa.
Chovy should
Pagi,
be
pagi,
fine
pagi.
here.
Ganked by a chain lash.
Yeah.
It is going to be all right.
Pagi, pagi, pagi.
Constantly getting
Pagi jam 5
poisoned
nih. Let's go.
which is looking a little frustrating, but nothing
Lagi pada
really
main kah?
happening here, and is still just making bank because he's TF.
Live
Let's have a look
dong,
at this
pengen
dive
lihat.
towards the bottom side, and then we can go and have a look towards what the heck happened in the top lane.
Carrier pulls this aggro. Keen goes incredibly low.
Ay,
Follow up
mantap.
here again. Keen trying to get to the other part of this turret. Owner's just so tanky. Then over here, like, so much has to go well for GenG in order to get this gank to succeed. Doran flashes to the upper part of his tunnel. It doesn't even need to take it here initially. And then Rag at the help. Yep, and then he, like, it's Cannon who ends up getting the kill here, actually, not Ruler. As just had too much damage there as he pushed him against the wall. Just wanted to maximize it because they need to kill this Rek'Sai, but eventually that kill goes over to the Skarner versus a Silas picking it up on the other side. Definitely not equivalent here. T1 picks up the first blood. GenG gets something back. Still not as good.
It is going to mean that, you know, Doran's life is still going to be difficult as he does move back towards his
Dua
top
di kiri
lane once
tadi.
again. Hook going to go wide. As Doran just wanting to stay in experience range if he can.
Dragon under control of
Kopi asu lagi nama dia.
side of the map with his forest push into the lane swapped Cassante. Definitely exactly what
Hello.
T1 wants right now.
Hello.
Gue satu game nanti musuh.
Ya.
Ini swift play kok.
Kenapa sih namamu kopi asu? Kamu jangan menikmati bro.
Oh, jangan mau didik telanang, Ton.
Anjing, Doran mati lagi. What the fuck?
Ya gimana orang dia ngayam-ngayamin di situ.
And it's a second kill on Doran in that top lane. In the meantime, though, the Dragon does go over to T1, and the Keen Sante is once again under threat.
I mean, he is Cassante. He does have level 6 now. I don't think they will be able to kill him, but they get the Dragon, which is a big
Di mana nih
prize.
si
Will be at the
itu
cost
sister?
of Doran, who almost gets out, almost outplays it again. So ends up being a big win there because this time the kill goes over to the Kalista. This time Ruler gets his prize in the top side of the map. Play from Canyon here. And Doran, look at the scope of his tunnels. He's like, I think I can be fine. I think I can get up here. The wave state is so bad for him. They have
Jangan
some
serang
of
aku.
these tunnels, and then this
Menjauh
time,
kamu.
the placement of the hook is correct. Doran ends up getting caught. Ruler goes under turret here to get the rend and the kill.
Yep, and Blitzcrank into Rek'Sai.
Ayo,
Feels
kejar
alright,
aku.
because he always does, like when she travels through a tunnel, she is going to be in a predictable location. Duro is utilizing that incredibly effectively, though, have to say.
Low econ top laners.
Yes.
And Cassante maybe
Tulang
one,
pinggul gua sakit.
he's one of the better low econ
Kenapa?
top laners. And it's Keen. When he's low economy, he pops off.
Yeah, he is the counterpoint, the 75.6% win rate.
Nice.
As Faker is running away from the snake once again. That is something you don't blame humans for doing that. We are programmed to run away from snakes. That's how that works. When we were monkeys, we were scared of snakes as well.
Not even
Balik.
cats. You know, you put a cucumber behind a cat.
Oh yeah, true.
Jump.
Yep. That's where all those funny cat videos come from.
Yeah.
Weird cucumber situation.
So the game state here is pretty even between these two teams. But for GenG, at least the Kalista has a kill now. That's where you really need to start getting online for this draft to work. The Cassiopeia can scale into a big damage threat later on, especially with this.
Nggak dapet. Oh, dapet ini.
Yeah, Destiny does come in. Miasma is down. Good
Ayo, Faker, matikan kau. Ih, nice. Oh, nggak bisa. Owner ngapain? You play like a fucking iron.
Bukan
Iron loh.
Iya, aku ya Iron loh, Ton.
Aku stuck iron 4, Pak.
Kamu jangan gitu.
As that bailout does not work. A really great start here for GenG this time.
It looked initially like it's another confident Faker call. He's going to look for the gold card play. He's going to look for the catch. But they had so many tools to turn it around. Owner's counter ult was actually almost enough to save it, but not in the end. The Fate's call comes through. So watch this again. Looks like Chovy is going to get caught, but they're right on top of a Skarner here. And look at this. Stun comes through first.
Iya,
then he gets the impale to get the kill. Owner wants to go in, but the timing of the Fate's call is phenomenal. Then Owner misses the chains here. Chovy guns him down, and then it's so easy to chase with his composition because you've got Skarner. You get Carrier's flash, but he's still not getting away. He's gonna get hooked here in the.
Udah kalah.
Has to flash to follow.
Saya masih percaya T1 akan comeback.
Over to Ruler.
Masa?
This is GenG winning the early game as this comp wants to do. And now this Kalista is starting to get really, really strong. Very relevant for this mid game.
Yeah. And maybe we'll see one of the Kalista games where she does look really powerful. I think we did have one of them, like the first time she was picked up again. I believe it was a Kalista Renata lane, and it was Kellen and Diablo. Kellen, of course, one of the greatest Renata players that we have here in the LCK. Diablo is a prodigy. So that one worked out really well.
Aku gak ada mana.
Dit, kamu pernah pakai Twisted Fit belum?
This is not even that, right? The Renata
pernah pakai Twisted Fit belum?
Belum nih.
Kenapa tuh bang? Mau tanya, dia itu beneran bisa ngasih damage nggak sih?
Bisa.
Oh bisa.
Kartu biru bisa. Kartu merah splash. Kartu biru langsung
You just want to
Kartu kuning 2 kali merah.
and the Skarner. It does make sense because lethality isn't going to get you much into those targets. And if you're trying to hit a Cassiopeia, you're going to have to follow up with damage that they don't necessarily have.
Ayo Onar, bantu temenmu itu. Mana jiwa korsanya?
A lot of distance. Doran finds himself in an awkward spot as he does ult him, but that is going to be Keen using everything in order to survive.
Chovy trying to get a plate here, knowing that the Silas is nearby. He's greeting for it.
Yeah, we'll be able to pick it up.
He has a control ward in the top.
I messed up.
Entrance, so
I messed up.
Oh no, Warwick.
those last few autos and pick that one
Ada
up.
Warwick ya?
Enggak, baru
Enggak,
Oh,
baru
udah kasih.
Ih, Blitzcranknya bagus banget mainnya, Duro.
Very well, but it's a great handshake here from Carrier, just not enough to deal with the Impale, and this Renata pick away is being punished.
These GenG Blitzcrank players, whether it's
Fix silver script dimainkan nih.
It must be the organization, man. Tigers must really like robots.
I mean,
is that a thing?
The Blitzcrank color scheme kind of fits GenG's colors, you know?
Hey, there we go.
A little golden tint to it. This game state is looking worse every moment here for T1 as this is just a really nice angle here from Duro through the wall.
Yeah. And the ward doesn't even quite work out, I don't think, as I think Carrier was trying to get that one over the wall, but got jump scared.
As end up trying to bail himself out, but obviously
Sama-sama
will
dulu
die.
boleh.
And yeah, this is a 3-kill Callista.
Yep, and it's also a 100% kill contribution Canyon.
Yeah.
He exists in this game.
I was going to mention it earlier, but Canyon has had, like, he was the last Skarner. When Skarner fell off, he was like, no, I still play that.
He's the only one with the Skarner card.
Exactly, he's the only one who has it. And
Kok sakit? Demi apa? Anjing gak ada tiamat.
this game, and it's working very well for him so far. He
Dia
basically
nggak tahu kalau ada buat itu.
set up these hooks and a lot of these
Komponen
skirmishes,
maxing.
and obviously the Impale play we saw on
Doran.
gold card.
Si Doran smart.
onto Chovy earlier was phenomenal.
Oh, bakar apa?
Iya di situ. Kenapa lu di situ?
Has not mattered in these early skirmishes too much just yet.
Seru banget.
And GenG snowballing this
Iya.
game. Now, it's not a big enough lead to where we could say it's a done deal by any means.
Oh, absolutely not.
But it is certainly
Look
where
like
you want to be
grabs.
if you're a GenG fan.
Yep.
Yeah.
And remember, this is one of those conversations from
GenG.
GenG that is a little bit lacking in the damage department unless they get big advantages,
Sini,
right? And
buat
they have
junglemu.
the beginnings of a big advantage if they can continue to snowball this one through. Of course, 13.5 minutes, only 1,500 gold as the Destiny comes on through here. Canyon in a lot of trouble as he flashes over the wall. The Impale going to be avoided as Keen looking to try and duel Doran
Come on,
here,
bring
but
your
it's a lot
jungler
of
friend.
damage.
Mampus.
The Rek'Sai
Cabut.
and a flash hook, and it's going to be
Hati-hati.
both of these top laners going down.
Sorry, aku
Not quite
mati.
going to work here as the Impale comes through at the
Forward
Wah.
anjing.
So is Chovy.
Nonton.
Overextended.
Anjing.
Chains around, but they are not going to do anything.
Kenapa diton?
Tadi Honor kan ditarik sama Blitzcrank, habis itu di ulti Skarner yang nangkap tuh. Lepas, langsung ngebunuh Skarnernya. Jadi kayak ngehit dua, mereka ngekill dua, mereka mati juga dua.
Now you're really committed in. Like as T1, you can't just go, oh well, I guess we'll let it
Kanan,
go.
tolong.
You have to commit in and try to look for Keen because the rotation is coming, the wraparound is coming. Doran is able to avoid turret aggro there with his
Nyampe nggak ya itu ya?
kill there, but then
Ih, nggak nyampe.
God, Dur. He's just in
Do it.
pick. The bailout buys some time here. They're not able to get the reset, unfortunately, for T1. Owner gets in the backline there, but it's the ult there to come through the petrifying gaze from Chovy that helps lock down these final 2 kills. It's a massive trade up for GenG again. And the Callista that's pushing mid lane, also a benefactor of this.
Yeah, 3-0-2, and is able to get a bunch of plate money in that mid lane. So was actually down a decent chunk of farm, has kind of evened that up just a little bit here. Gumayushi still holding a bit of an advantage. So this Varus is still on track to being scary, but hasn't got any kills himself just yet. As T1 looking for this Rift Herald, GenG with full information about that happening. See whether they can actually get in a position to contest. As Canyon gonna drive on in, gets himself over the wall. It will be a 50-50, but it's Owner that wins it. Duro still hunting, looking for a bit of a target. Hostile takeover comes in as Oda goes golden. Keen right in amongst it. The double knock-up from Doran's fantastic. He's being bailed out as well as Keen somehow survives. There is no
Graves.
way that he should be allowed to do that. And down goes Oda.
Game ini banyak team fight-nya asik anjing.
It's just
Graves.
GenG all the way.
Tapi emang dua dari buat GenG sih.
Oh, Graves kita AFK ya?
Hah?
Graves kita AFK.
Nah, Graves.
Pantes nggak gerak-gerak 2 menit.
Yeah, the Destiny is going to come down. They're going to look for Canyon, or at least look to tell him to leave, as he gets a fair bit of rock. Hook onto Faker! Duro finds another
Ah, di ulti
one!
deh.
And the attempted bailouts, but it's just too expensive. He's not leaving the police station this time. Down goes another kill, and it's a double for Ruler, making 5-0-4 now.
And a moment ago, I said it's the lead you're looking for GenG, but it's not enough to say it's a done deal. I think it is now. Watch this fight here. This is exactly the type of scrappy fight that GenG wants. You got the Herald. Good luck getting the eye. Owner goes in here with the Blitzcrank ultimate, then goes golden. Also, by the way, Kuma gets hooked in all of this and ends up losing half his health while Doran bleeds out. And Chovy, is he caught or is he killing him?
He's killing him and caught. He's both. He's doing it. He's poisoned both of them. Doran is dealing with so many of these minions. Canyon's making his way over. Scorpion and Snake, they're both very scary. And they are just going to leave. So thankfully, if you do find yourself face to face with a Snake or a Scorpion, walk away.
Or call Atlas.
Walk away.
He's very acquainted with those species where he's from.
We do have a few of those.
Teman aku sama FF.
Anjay.
But we do have some.
Aku pulang ya.
Angle here.
Iya, monggo.
Tadi.
Watch this.
Kasih.
Yep. Oh my.
He's like, I got him. And like the angle made it almost look like he missed, but he's just gets him down just
Warwick
on the edge.
menghilang.
Slow from the Q here from the Skarner. Canyon
Reverse sweep bisa jadi sih Jer.
And then Chovy in the 1v2 down here at this moment ends up getting knocked up, but like watch the damage come through on the door and it's actually crazy. He needs help.
Cuman T1 ini late game semua championnya.
He just runs so fast.
Dan
he slithers so fast.
He's so fast that like owner can't actually find the angle to ult him back.
GenG itu early.
This is GenG grabbing another dragon.
So seeing T1 disrupt kayak gini nggak kaget.
If it's a triple mountain with Kasante Skana.
Bye bye.
I think like, are we calling it now? I'm almost ready to. This is.
I mean, I think we are biased towards Silver Scrapes.
Yeah,
so I'm like, I'm trying to work out like, you know, how much should we? Because this game. Like you can see it at the top of your screen.
Commit kayak?
7,000 gold lead, one of the biggest.
Kayak streamer luar negeri lo. Anak streaming 3 aman,
This is the Chovy that we were promised.
Kha'Zix referral.
Jovi's about to hit 14, and in just a second he's gonna hit 15.
Oh my!
This is actually kind of an unprecedented lead.
Dua di referral tuh berarti.
How is it
without Otacon? That's right.
How is it without Otacon and without Rod of Ages? Like that is what?
He is 50 CS ahead.
Oh, that might have something to do with it.
Like the observers are watching.
Yeah, like how does he do this?
He will be 3 levels ahead. Okay, now will he be caught?
Hello.
And will this TP?
Siapa yang boleh kamu
As
farming?
now Faker trying to get on top of him. Duro is in position. As Keen teleports in as well. The flash out of the way. The hostile takeover and GenG. Not going to be losing.
Ini kayak ngerank flex anjing LCK rasanya kayak flex.
Ruler's just pushing mid and T1 need to rotate over to save it. Duro looking for an angle here to potentially catch a single target on T1's rotation.
This is the most dangerous part, is trying to travel to different places.
Don't tempt fate, Carrier.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Ruler able to do a fair bit of damage here as Doran also going to get slowed down.
I mean, the carries are so fed here for GenG that like, even when you catch them, air quotes, they're like, no, I kill you.
Nice banget. Ganteng lu Tom.
And look at all of this vision here towards this top side at the same time. In 12 seconds
Alhamdulillah ya
time, on the
Allah.
top side of the map, the Otacon is
Ini di ulti bisa nih sama si bangsat nih.
that we had some level discrepancies earlier on. That is only going to get exacerbated.
And I mean, now here, where do you go as T1? You have to come over to this Otacon where there's a Blitzcrank lurking somewhere, looking to kill whoever checks. That checker
And no one can check.
Yeah, exactly. It's Carrier on Renata. He's like, I'm so scared. Duro's like, I'm waiting for
No.
Yep.
Here you are.
There he is, special delivery, and he will get some
Gatel
extra time
banget
with
dikit lagi
bailout, but not
turretnya.
very much. Chains of
Iya,
corruption coming.
pusat kalian.
That is an
Snack mau bikin kolektor.
Saluran, aduh. Pasti grafnya ya.
Iya.
Udah, Genji.
Hai.
Genji.
Finds the gold card. Hook is going to miss, but the Twisted Fate surviving
I'm
does
not
not
back
help the T1 fans feel better about this game.
Yeah, I think GenG fans are saying I'll see you in 5.
Yep.
I think we could say GenG won the early game this time for the first time in this series.
Bye.
With a 9,500 gold lead here.
Oh, ke atas ya?
Now at 20.
Oh my god.
Gak apa-apa, cabut aja.
They took the early game lead and they snowballed
Sorry.
it.
Aku
We predicted this because it's so obvious. Carrier has to go in and check.
Welcome back to my channel.
Ngapain Graf? Ya Allah.
And the follow-up here, it's a really nice ult here, but it doesn't matter because the Impale comes through. The ring comes out quite early from Ruler, but it doesn't matter. They get the smite because the Silas is dead, and Guma is just left alone, and then Faker's able to at least avoid the hook, but that is all you could say in the positive column for T1 as GenG look to set up.
Oh my, another one! Okay, from now on, every single game, teams, they need to ban Blitzcrank. Even he hasn't even been prioritizing this champion. He's so good at it.
I mean, like, Carrier was the guy who caught aiming.
Graf. Untung aja, kira Graf tadi kena anjir.
Right, but like, you're playing without into Blitzcrank, which is why this is such a great pick from ahead. And that's why I said in the draft, I'm like, this is such a confident pick from GenG. Like, the draft was so risky. They were confident they could pilot it, they were confident they could pull it out, and they certainly did, right? Like, this was match point on the line, LCK finals on the line.
Oh, oke. Ada dua.
Flash as he wanders on over. Trophy gonna get ganked by multiple people, petrifying
Tembak,
all over the place. But Gumayushi gets the shutdown, and an important one at that. 1,100 gold. They will trade their inhibitor turret for it.
Yeah, maybe some bounty gold picked up here, but this turret's so healthy, they have no wave.
Yona.
Helps clear out the rest of that.
Yona terbakar.
To go down, but the inhibitor turret does fall. T1 get the kill and the shutdown, but not that goal.
Can Canyon be damaged? Okay, maybe he can now as the Destiny on top of everything. Gumayushi starting to get some shots over as Canyon just drives his way out. Gumayushi still hunting for it. He flashes into the enemy base, gets impaled. Now he's in turret range. Duro comes over and Canyon, yeah, he's a tank.
I get it. I mean, Guma knew the game was
Gumayushi tolol.
You gotta try something. I mean, you gotta try something.
Naga nggak sih?
Called reading the room, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, he almost got him. You've got game 5. It's okay.
You know, yeah.
But as it turns out, he answered your question.
Berkorban namanya.
Iya lagi. Gak apa-apa, kamu dapat shutdown kok. Worth.
It looks like they're afraid of what could be lurking in the dark.
By the way, he still doesn't have his second Mountain Drake yet, nor a Mountain Soul.
Minion si Ifrit.
Imagine how little damage they will do to him after that. As this is, by the way, if there was going to be a contest, which there wouldn't be, you have to fight through Ren stacks and Smite.
Yeah, no, you're not gonna. It's not a 50-50 in this case. So the Mountain Drake will be taken down, and Wolf, you know what? It's actually kind of crazy. This is kind of a beautiful juxtaposition of what happened in Game 4 in the T1 versus DK series. But it was the other side, right? It was an absolute blowout. I like this version more because T1 can come back in Game 5 and try and turn it around. Side selection will be theirs.
The difference in the game state too is that the Smolder was kind of completely online, and then one hook had to be the miracle to save the game. Now it's just Duro hooking whoever he wants, and it doesn't.
Gimana harga? Gak mau rotasi,
That Varus is not online, as we saw in the
Canyon almost okay, just finds the impale onto Gumayushi somehow, and obviously he's going to survive with over a third health. Yes, reading the room. I'm going to try and read the room as well.
I'm like you and I wanted Game 5, and we get our wish.
Warwicknya beli hal breaker
This is
anjing.
going to be the inner turret taken down here without Gumayushi. There is not a way.
That's new.
I was already like at the beginning of this game, I was trying to do the Faker flexibility narrative. Like he's playing TF, he was ready to play the Silas. I thought this was likely to be GenG failing in another early game because their early games looked so weak. Canyon looked so weak, but this has been his best game we've seen in playoffs.
Yeah,
he's 19 out of 20.
Oh god, another hook, and it
Anjing.
Jonah strong by surprise as Doran just goes down. Owner now dancing around behind the burn pit, but Keen, he's a bouncer. He's going to try and stop him. Owner might be able to get in, but it's not going to be the steal. It's somehow Cassiopeia that actually gets it. As
Al-Zahar.
finally
Oh
won. I
no,
see it miss.
Supresa.
Good sidestep there from Carrier. Does it matter? No. No, it doesn't at all.
No.
Anjay, menang atas.
He's still dead. He's going to buy a bit of time. That was such a cute flash. Such a cute flash. As Canyon going to pick up Faker, throw some rocks at him. Rule looking to bounce his way over. And will be able to get in range. The blast cone is going to be able to buy a little bit.
Anjir, Warwick anjing.
Curang dia multi. Multi kamu tuh bikin orang diem. Asu. Sebel. Gak apa-apa. Dia larinya gini, ting 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 ting, terus dia balik lagi ke sini bajingan.
Tiba-tiba dia lompat aja.
Mending kalau loncat aja kalau ujung-ujungnya mau ulti. Maroon 5, Maroon 5.
Baby, I'm coming.
Way better than GenG on a match point now. Then you have to play this game out where there's no chance. There's like no chance, there's no way back in. Like Owner's going for this Hail Mary, good moment for his Hail Mary in the base, because you know you're 10,000 gold behind. We're going to game 5, and it's just like GenG or Slash dancing on you as we go to Silver Scrape's momentum is completely GenG's now in this series. Did this with red side, the Kalista pick.
Kasih lihat Drake. Warwick di bawah. Ultiin Warwicknya sikat. Nah, terus aku free hit, let's go, aku free hit. Fuck you. Kasih. Kasih.
Gak dapet, gak punya apa-apa tuh.
Aku jelari. Jangan. Slow, dia slow. Mampus. Aku hewan.
Anjing.
Kenapa lagi, Ton?
Kenapa lagi, Ton?
What happened, Ton?
Anjing. What the fuck?
What happened?
Kamu ke atas, kamu apa enggak?
Trying to use this lawnmower to take down Faker, not the Nexus. All three of them weren't enough, and the Scorpion will bring us to Silver Scrape. Canyon's got a heart of steel at the end of this game. Gets the kill on Guma, the snipe just before. And maybe
Fuck you, Warwick. Tidak berteman dengan kamu.
Take his spot and inspire away. He and Duro. And GenG bring us the 5 that I think most people didn't think we'd see after 2 dominant T1 back-to-back wins. Oh my god, and Chronicler said it in his little quote thing that we had the lower third for earlier in the day. He thought
Ayo kita Dragon.
Polar Bear was going to exit hibernation. Well, just in the nick of time here in game 4, backs against the wall, and that is the Canyon that we have wanted to see.
Makin dari jauh ya, Mas.
Haven't really at all.
Enak.
Gumishi did a lot of damage to a Skarner that he could not hurt.
Nggak main lelah.
Number
Akhirnya strip.
but health bar did not
Loh,
go down.
Anda ini kan mau.
2K on a Skarner is that looks like old Skarner before they nerfed his Q damage.
Halo, Kasih.
Even carried it.